Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Good evening. I am Styrofoam Ralph. This is Cups and the Gang live from the
Here.
motherfucking hot box. This is the Thursday Smoke Rally. You know I got my dog with me, one half of Pursuit of Forever, who had an amazing episode last night. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
Talking
you.
about listening and things like that, man, and with intent. You know what I'm saying? So
Here.
definitely shout
Here.
out to Pursuit of Forever, man. That was last night, last Wednesday, and the next one comes out
In 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And any past episode you can find anywhere and everywhere you can
Yeah,
find a
man.
podcast. And you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, 2-5 and the other boxers join us in a little bit. But until then,
Join us,
um,
boxers.
a couple nights ago, my brother, I had brought up to you that a senator from Tennessee had
Yeah.
brought up
Yeah.
a bill that would basically prohibit federal workers from collective bargaining for the
Uh-huh.
purposes of higher wages or other things like that. So when I asked you about it, I asked you what were the what was the likelihood, because it was only introduced, but I asked you what was the likelihood of it being passed through the Senate floor, and you told me that it would be very highly unlikely. And
Yeah.
I agree
Nah.
with you, and I still agree with you.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump has signed an executive order basically mimicking which that she did. Before
Uh-huh.
you give your idea on it, I do want to say I read this article right here, and well, no, before I read, I want you to give your take on the federal workforce ban.
So what I'll say is this, right? So
Mhm.
in my day job, I work for an organization that prides itself on helping to sort of create the I guess you say the wall against stuff like the things that President Trump and his I want to I want to try to be non-disrespectful. So I'll just say the people who believe like he does, um,
Mhm.
the things that they are sort of pushing for. And so I was on a funders briefing yesterday, and they were
Mhm.
talking, or 2 days ago, and they were talking about the fact that with everything that President Trump is doing through executive orders, you have to remember that an executive order cannot change the law, right?
Mhm.
So if there's a law, it has to be changed like a law is changed. If there's something that was passed by Congress, um, for example, the sorry, for example, like the Civil Rights Act, or if it was something regarding unions, something that was pushed through legislation, not created by an executive order, but created by legislation, the president does not have the ability to change that, right? So we have to keep that in mind. And a lot of times, what he's doing, and I've talked about this several times on this platform, that what I believe him to be doing is just throwing a bunch of stuff out there that just sounds good to people who don't know what they're talking about. That sounds
Right.
good to people that don't understand the legislative process. Sounds good to people that don't understand the Constitution. And most of it's not going to stick.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those things that again would need to be stopped by legislation, which is why you saw Marsha Blackburn pushing for it. And now
Mhm.
what Trump is trying to do is align himself with the people who want that. Now you have to ask yourself, who are the people that want that? Do you think that coal miners in West Virginia want that? No.
Absolutely
Do you
not.
think that auto workers in Michigan want that? No. Do you think that postal workers in Richmond, Virginia want that? No.
Absolutely not.
So this is something that's going to be extremely unpopular with the masses. Though not all states are union states, all
Mhm.
states want the ability to unionize unless they're South Carolina, which I don't know how people have convinced people in South Carolina that unionization is a bad thing, but hey, man, that's
Hey,
that's what they've convinced them of. Sadly,
that class warfare is a fickle bitch.
well, because they use terminology, right? That is like trigger words, right? So they'll say stuff like, "Oh, well, the only people that are that want to be in unions are socialists. I'm
Or the
like,
union steals all your money.
yeah, it's if you invite the unions, then you're inviting socialism and communism. So
Mhm.
now we go back to Cold War tactics, where they post up socialism and communism as this big bad wolf that everyone should be fighting against at all times.
Right.
And it's the same thing. They just aligned it. They just like worded it differently in the modern era, but it's the
Mhm.
exact same conversation. It's the exact same rhetoric. It's the exact same um, approach that they used during those times. And unfortunately, we have a segment of America that likes to believe stupid stuff.
Mhm. And before I read
So
this, oh
yeah,
my bad. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was about to say before I read this article, I do have a question, and because do you think that there's a correlation between union states, or not? Do you think, but based on your expertise, do you think there's a correlation between union states and red and blue states?
Yes.
Mm.
There's actually I forgot who it was that were talking about it. Um, who was that? I'm trying to
You
remember
said,
who it was, but I just heard recently. It's not a podcast. It was not a podcast. I want to say it was the Breakfast Club. It may have been Al Sharpton or one of them that were talking about the fact that people in southern states talk about the negative parts of the union, but when we look at it, the union. Oh, it was somebody else saying that there's been an argument that the union makes organizations less. It was Cory Booker. Cory Booker in his own thing. He said people talk about the fact that unions make people less productive when corporations and union states actually have much higher productivity than
mm,
in non-union states. So it
right,
actually shows the exact opposite of what the narrative is that they're trying to push.
right.
These are things that again they're not talking about at that level because it's not beneficial. And also, we're so busy trying to do other things, um, that we'll get into later, but that sort of distract us away from these things that are going on. There are real issues going on that are impacting our lives on a day-to-day basis. If you are a union member and you're somebody who has bargained for union rights, and like this is something, even if it's not possible for them to change it, the fact that they're starting to have the conversation should
Hmm.
say something to you because the goal isn't for them to get it accomplished right now. The goal is for them to get it to get it on the agenda. Once it's on the agenda, it's just a matter of time before it's approved. Just like when we look at everything that's happening right now with Trump, this stuff started in the 1970s.
Hmm.
If you go back to the women's liberation movement of 1970, like around 19 between 1975 and 1978, um, that's where we started to see this version of the Republican Party that has aligned themselves with the Christian church.
Mm,
That started in the 1970s. So
hmm.
at that time, they did not own Christianity the way that they do right now. And now it's widely believed, even by some people on the Democratic side, that somehow Christianity is a Republican thing. Not true,
Yeah.
right? It's not, it doesn't belong to one party. But what they've been able to do is change the discussion to make people believe that because again, we just like believing narratives. And I don't know why we like believing narratives, but we do. And we follow these narratives and we allow these narratives to sort of control our lives in a very
Well,
unhealthy way. So
well, let me
just to get
ask you,
back to, yeah, go ahead.
don't you think that just based on your comment about Christianity and republicanism and stuff like that, don't you think that
Uh-huh.
you're way more likely to hear I'm a Christian conservative than to hear somebody say I'm like a Christian liberal or like a Christian
Because,
Democrat?
but it's because we've allowed them we so we've allowed them to decide what things mean.
Hmm.
Just like so, what happens is Republican hears thing, right? Republican decides thing is either good or bad for the Republican Party. Um, and if they say it's good for the Republican Party for to be aligned with it, then they say this is ours, right? This belongs to us. A great example is patriotism. The average Republican will tell you, "Oh, Democrats aren't Republican aren't patriots at all." Well, we had a really big military considering all the patriots are Republicans.
Hmm.
And if you were to poll most military people, they don't lean Republican.
Hmm.
They don't, which means Democrats are also patriots. I am a patriot. I'm somebody that loves this country. And I think that and I think that this is something that Democrats don't say nearly enough because we have ceded that ground.
Hmm.
And so now they get to paint us as American haters, people who hate America, people who don't love this country, won't fight for this country, who don't believe in the flag, that don't believe in the ideals that America was built on,
Hmm.
which is absolutely not true. There are people in my family that I love. Do I think they're 100% altogether lovely and perfect? No, but I love them nonetheless, and I'll do whatever I could for them nonetheless. And that's how I feel about the country. I feel like I
Hmm.
love this country. I've fought for this country. I've served overseas for this country. I fought in war for this country. I've left my family for this country. I haven't bled for this country because I haven't been shot or anything like that. But I got hypothermia for this country in
Work.
the mountains of Afghanistan at
That
Bagram
count.
Airfield, right? I've done a lot of things for this nation, and so when I hear people say, "Well, patriotism is a Republican ideal,"
Hmm.
I'm deeply offended.
For sure.
But instead of being deeply offended and fighting for that ground, we say, "Well, just let them have it." Well, they want to say that Republicans only want to love the country. Cool. We'll just let them believe that Republicans only want to love the country. When that's absolutely not true. Do you know how much you got to love this country to run for office in this country?
For
Like,
sure.
you really have to believe in this thing so much that you're willing to be hated, talked about, cussed at, lied on,
Ostracized.
discriminated against publicly, ostracized publicly when you run for office. That's not something I believe that Democrats are doing because they hate this country.
For sure.
Now, are there Democrats that hate this country? Yes. Guess what else though? Are there Republicans that hate this country? Absolutely.
For sure.
Because we have Republicans that literally are big fans of the overthrow of the American of America. If you are a Confederate sympathizer,
You're a
you
traitor.
you believe in treason. You are a supporter of treason. And I wish that people would just say that. You are a supporter of hatred and treason.
For sure.
And you can make it about states' rights if you want to. You can make it about that. But guess what? What you did was not patriotic. It was actually the opposite of patriotism. So if you are a Confederate supporter and a Republican, you love the country a whole lot less than I do.
You supported the separation of a country, of the union.
Yes.
That's not patriotic at all. Unless you
But
patriotic to
again,
the Confederate
but it's
Confederacy.
but instead of having that conversation, we cede the ground. And when you cede the ground on patriotism, when you cede the ground on family values, when you cede the ground on your religion, what do you have left? So now Republicans will claim those things. And the things that we want that they decided are bad, now they make bad. Woke. Woke did not start out as an insult. Woke meant I'm aware of what's going on around me and I'm not going to sit by and let it happen anymore.
Hmm.
I'm aware. I'm woke. Republicans took woke and made it you identify with pedophiles. You want to see children harmed. You want to tear down the American way.
Imagine
That's
it
what they
getting
made
to the
woke.
point where it's saying, I'm not woke.
Right.
I'm not like you woke weirdos.
Hey,
I'm not woke.
I'm not aware at all. I'm not
I'm
at
not
all aware.
woke.
I'm super unaware. I take offense to the fact that you say I'm aware. So then woke, right?
So,
Now DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is bad about diversity in the workplace? What is bad about having a workplace that is representative of the communities that we live in? Okay, we could probably say none. Equity. What's wrong with making sure that everyone has access to the American dream, not just in word, but in action?
yep.
What is wrong with ensuring that the wrongs of the history of our country are corrected intentionally? There's nothing wrong with that unless you're the people that have, based on very terrible reasons, benefited from a lack of equity.
For the long haul, for the long term.
Then inclusion. What is wrong with ensuring that special needs people have the same access to buildings that we do, the same access to education that we do? They have the same access to resources that we do, us able-bodied people. And of course, inclusion goes way more than just special needs people. Because when you're talking about DEI, you're not just talking about race, which is they try to make it about. They made DEI mean black. And just like anything else we've seen in the history of this country, there is a segment of people that want to make everything black bad.
You make it black, you can demonize it.
If I can make it black, I can make it bad. But guess what, white women? This impacts you too. Guess what, poor people? This impacts you too. Guess what?
Veterans.
Hispanics, Latin Americans, Asian Americans, Jewish Americans, Native Americans, Hindu Americans. This impacts you too. And we can put our head in the sand and act like DEI is an attack on black people. And I know how much we love to pile on black people in this nation. But guess what? You are literally cutting off your head. You're cutting off your own head. So if that's something you cool with, then go for it. But you're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like when you see what it really is.
So just really quickly to double back to the collective bargaining thing. This is a article I see from Federal News Network, and it says that this was written yesterday. House lawmakers are making a push to restore collective bargaining for federal workers after an executive order canceled union contracts across a large number of agencies last week. The bipartisan Protect America's Workforce Act, introduced on Tuesday, aims to bring back collective bargaining for all agencies impacted by Trump's executive order. If enacted, the legislation would effectively reverse Trump's actions, which terminated a majority of agencies' collective bargaining agreements, citing national security concerns. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, one of the original co-sponsors of the new bill, said the legislation would pivot the administration towards a more responsible, targeted approach to improving government efficiency.
You know that's bullshit, right? Come on, bro.
We support efforts to improve government efficiency, but applying sweeping national security exemptions to agencies risk doing more harm than good, Fitzpatrick says.
100%, bro. 100%, bro.
These are vital to public service. Undermining collective bargaining in these spaces weakens morale, accountability, and performance. Sounds very base to me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
and I want to say that specifically refers to people working for government agencies. So that wouldn't apply to like if you work at Ford or something like that. But the goal, if you think the goal is to stop there, okay, cool. Let's go with that theory, because we've seen over the course of this country that once they start going after something, like they don't just stop at one thing; they want the whole thing.
Yeah, they're not gonna bring it up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, not at all.
President Trump's executive order is blatantly illegal and unconstitutional, said Randy Erwin. It's clear from this legislation that even lawmakers from the president's own party recognize that ending collective bargaining for workers is indefensible. But if they say it's illegal and unconstitutional, why do they have to go through the legal process in order to undo something that was illegal?
Because again, back to what we're talking about, Trump's throwing a whole lot of stuff out there and making them stop him. All right, stop me. You think you got it? Stop me.
And while they working on this, I got something else.
Yep.
While they're working on this, I'll do this thing over here. While they work on this, I'll do this thing over here. And I'm gonna just keep doing all this stuff. It's a whole bunch of hide the shell, man. It's a whole bunch of hide the shell. We gotta learn this dance, though. Man.
This is interesting. Although the 1978 Civil Service Reform Act mainly broadened the rights for federal employees to unionize and collectively bargain, it also included a narrow stipulation that a president can exclude agencies from collective bargaining if the agency has a primary function of intelligence, counterintelligence, investigative, or national security work, and the provisions of this chapter cannot be applied to that agency or subdivision in a manner consistent with national security requirements and considerations. What's going on?
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
What about
We here.
which goes back to right? Which goes back to our conversation earlier. Remember we were just saying about communism earlier?
Mhm.
All right. So if we can just keep if we can stop them from collectively like, oh, it's a matter of national security that people aren't able to unionize within national intelligence. Because what line are we drawing? We're drawing a line between federal national intelligence and socialism and communism. It's the Cold War all over again, bro. But instead of actually having the Cold War in another country, we have a president that is supporting the communists and trying to enact legislation. Like, he does a whole lot of double talk, a lot of double speaks. It's a lot of double speaks, a lot of double talks. It's a lot of hide the shell. It's a lot of what is he really doing? That's the question we should always ask ourselves when this dude makes a move. What is the actual aim? I don't think he knows what he's doing at all. But I think the people who are telling him what stuff to do know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what their aim is. They know exactly where they want to end up on this thing. Sorry, y'all. What happened?
Doreen Greenwald, national president of the National Treasury Employees Union, called Trump's interpretation of the provision absurdly broad. The executive order covers a number of agencies with employees that NTEU represents, including those at the IRS, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Department of Health and Human. The law plainly gives federal employees the right to bargain collectively, and the shocking executive order abolishing that right for most of them under the guise of national security is an attempt to silence the voices of our nation's public servants. It is also a continuation of the administration's efforts to deny the American people the vital services that these talented civil servants provide, making it easier to fire them without any pushback from union advocates. And again, we've been talking about the dismantling of public services a lot. I mean, and that's really what, again, a lot of this is just more like deregulation and stuff like that. Because again, they'll say how the unions are bad or whatever like that. But I mean, unions only are bad for the reason that the unions were created. Like it's counterproductive to what they've been doing. So that's just a lot of what all this is. Like, they really want to get rid of a lot of these government agencies and turn them over to private agencies and stuff like that. So it's just
it all ties together, bro. It all ties together. There's no separation of thought here. Like, everything that we've talked about, the last 2 years when it comes to political stuff, it's all right there. It's all right in front of our faces. And we can pretend like it's not there. We can pretend like it's not happening. But this stuff is impacting Americans right now. This ain't something we're going to have to wait on.
For sure.
It's right in front of our face. It just so happens that right now they're saying it out loud. They're saying the quiet thing out loud now. Another thing they started talking about, did you see Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, talking about a potential Trump third term?
Yeah, they really pushing that shit.
And they asked him, they're like, hey, what do you think about it? President Trump has said he wants to run for a potential third term. What are your thoughts about it? And he says, well, I can see why Americans want to have a third Trump term. And no, he didn't ask you about Americans. He asked you about Trump saying he was going to run for a third term. we are so the fact that a sitting elected official, the Speaker of the House, talks like that.
It's crazy, bro.
The Speaker of the House. That is crazy.
Yeah, though. Do you know if trucker unions are big? Like, do you know how big they are like across the country? I know the post office. We got the American Postal Workers, and then we got the National Letter Carriers. And I think we got maybe 2 more unions under the post office. Do you know how many big unions that there are like in the transport and services?
Nah, not really. Outside of the Teamsters, I'm not really aware of any
Mhm.
that have a significant impact, because in this industry, you're pretty much on your own, more or less, unless you're with a big company. And if you're with a big company, you toe the line of what the big company says and does, because to them you're basically a number. So like Snyder, JB Hunt, Werner, those type of outfits, when they decide they want to do something, you either go with it or they leave you behind type shit.
Because I mean, like, what? My bad. Go ahead.
I've never been, well, outside of Swift Transportation. I should have thrown them in there as well. Swift and those type of cats, I try to avoid. I try to stay in the smaller company realm, because my agenda is more of a priority with them than they are with the bigger groups. But the Teamsters union, and maybe the union that UPS has, are probably the 2 biggest trucking union wise that per se I would be familiar with. Whereas if they did something, it would get my attention. But even in that, it gets my attention, but it doesn't affect me personally.
Right. Because I mean, isn't like in trucking, like, I mean, once you have your own rig or whatever, like, or your own means to get a rig, whether you rent or own it outright, like, I mean, aren't you basically your own contractor or union member on your own?
Yeah, well, basically, there's steps to it. You not first, but in the process, you secure the truck. When you secure the truck, then you secure your own authority. Then you're pretty much your own union. But you have to interact with other companies or other personnel in order for your finances and your progression to happen. Unless you're in a situation where you don't have a middleman, you deal directly with a shipper deals directly with you. You don't have to go through a broker or anything to get your freight. You always got somebody else in your pocket, and government gonna always be in your pocket. That's just gotten increasingly worse over the years. I can remember when the circus had their first run, and you heard in the news how all these trucking companies and these truckers was going up to DC to demand all these changes, and supposedly all these changes was supposed to happen, but nothing really changed. But they swept that under the rug. So it's like you go back and ask them what purpose did you achieve taking all those trucks up to DC and clogging up traffic that's already clogged up and demanding all these changes that never happened? You won't get a straight answer from 3 people. So when they say they're about to, or they're going to make all these changes to unions and basically break up a union that's already been firmly established, I laugh, but then I don't laugh, because my question is, how many of them voted for this person to be put in the position to fuck them like they swore they were going to be fucked by the Democrats? Not you. Give me a president, give me a Democratic president in the last 20 years, or even 30 years, that has said he wanted to do anything to the union other than make them stronger.
Well, I mean, look, we to be fair, and this was one of me and Rez's very first OG hotbox conversations when Biden was in office when they had the railroad strike, and Biden basically and again, to a fault, the union still voted. I think it was 8 out of 12 to go with the forceful proposal that Biden had laid down. You know what I'm saying? So the union still got together and voted to go along with the half steps that was offered, and still didn't get the full package. So
Yeah.
Okay, at least they voted. They were able to vote
right,
It's like
on
collective bargaining.
for sure.
what was being presented to them. It may not have been everything they wanted. It may not have been half of what they wanted, but at least the opportunity was there for them to vote. You're in a situation now where the same people that told you executive orders were bad are using executive orders every day. So now explain to me how one circus can be in a dictatorship for using executive orders, but when the other circus does it, oh, it's getting progress done, it's getting work done, it's not bogging down the government. This is what a real president does. No, this isn't what a real president does. This is what happens when you're so comfortable in your racism, and your agenda is being met by way of deception. But see, now the people you're deceiving are some of the same people that voted for you under the assumption you wasn't gonna fuck them.
Yep.
Now they're getting fucked, and now it's a problem. But the people who were trying to help you, that told you he was gonna fuck you, you told them no, they're lying. They just want to stay in power. They're the dictators. They're the power-hungry mongrels that are against the people. But you can never explain to me how somebody with a whole lot of money is ready to risk their money to help you get a little bit more money, because they're not going to bring you up to their level. Nobody in history has ever helped somebody at the bottom to bring them up face to face with them financially. Nobody. Because what use are you to me when we can see eye to eye? Where's your motivation? If I bring you all the way up to my level, where's your motivation? You don't have none. But then even at that, if I bring you up to my level, now you're a threat to me, because we all can't eat the same share of the pie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, let me go ahead.
They have them so strung up on lies and deception that they believe they want to be in an era that their grandparents and great grandparents were in, that's going to make them better or feel better about themselves. And me personally, I don't give a two fucks about your feelings. I get up and go to work just like you. I work in the same system as you. So for you to say I have this particular advantage because I work the same amount of hours, sometimes more, or have to work more hours just to get the same piece that you get, but somebody's in your ear with more money than both of us combined, telling you I'm the problem, while stealing your money out of your pocket at the same time. But they have them so comfortable in their racism that they don't see it, but now they're starting to see it and feel it. So now it's a problem. No, sir.
Right.
Let
me ask you a question real quick. When we were talking about just based off what you were saying about the when you have a truck and stuff like that, like you basically are like your own contractor and stuff like that. I mean, what is it just based on your knowledge, like what is it that the Teamsters fight for as far as like, truckers' rights and stuff like that? Because I know with the postal union, we try and do things like cost of living adjustments and trying to cut down on excessing. And excessing is a thing where like if your job gets eliminated, they have to replace it within a certain mileage. Like they can't send you to like DC if like you in Richmond, they have to find you a place like within. They cut it down to 50 miles now. So
every every union basically has the same concept. Is to look out for that or those their members. Just like you say, if say you get your position gets eliminated at your current location. If you're in a union, they're obligated to either relocate you, like you say, within a certain mileage, or they have to give you a certain reimbursement package, or they're responsible for I don't know if reclassification is the word, but they have to give you another job or get you another job within your current position or close to it. That's what a union is, basically security.
For sure.
If you look at it, when you're in a union, you get certain benefits or certain security that allow you to, per se, work at a certain level or work to a certain level. You also get security for your future when you're no longer able to work. Whereas you have a benefits package. So you being in the postal business, you already know how this works. You got to work a certain amount of years. You gotta put a certain amount of time in. When you reach certain levels of employment, you get certain levels of benefits, right? Okay, after what is it, 20, 25 years or 30 years or something like that, it's considered something like a gold package, where you're just basically in there till you hit the max, and then they say, okay, you can either leave quietly.
Yeah, because we can't afford this no more, gang.
Yeah, exactly. like I know with say with teachers, I can remember, per se, my band director back when he was working in the Charleston County school system. It got to a point where he had been there so long, he was not too far behind the superintendent of the county.
Yeah.
That wasn't comfortable for them. They had the high school basketball coach at the school downtown, Burke High School. That man had been there over 30 years, over 30 some odd years. He was making more than the principal at the school, if I remember correctly. That didn't sit too well with them. But they wouldn't have had those two examples. They wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for the union.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you hear about all these changes they want to make to unions and quote unquote unions is bad for the country. No, unions aren't bad for the country. Unions are bad for the people who have to invest or deal with the unions. Because like I say, a union job is a secure job.
For sure.
You can talk to a regular employee a certain way, but you can't talk to a union employee the same way. Yeah. Because you can sit there and say, yeah, I'll fire you today and have you replaced tomorrow, if he's a regular employee. But if he's a union employee, they'll be like, you can try it, but I can guarantee you can fire me today and I'll still be hired tomorrow. There's a process to firing a union employee. And even if you fire a union employee, correct me if I'm wrong, you get a union check and an unemployment check.
I'd have to fact check that, but you definitely get unemployment. I don't know about the union job, but if you're fired unjustly from the union, I know as far as the post office goes, if you're fired unjustly, you can absolutely get a settlement check for that job.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I'm saying. You basically can come out of that 2 checks.
You can file a grievance. You can challenge every removal.
There's steps to firing a union employee versus a non-union employee. A non-union employee, you can be slick with it and have him work an 8-hour shift or however long his shift is, And at the end of this shift, you can say, hey, here's your papers, you're fired.
Yep.
Or you're terminated for such and such and such. You don't really have to give him a reason why you're terminating them. He'll find that out, or they'll find that out eventually. But a union employee, it's not that simple.
Absolutely
You
not.
you have to go through people in order to fire, and that's the purpose. A union, like I say, a union is basically protection, but a legitimate, respectable union. Because I mean, even in saying the Teamsters, the Teamsters history is a history of corruption and mob connection in
For sure.
itself.
For sure.
But what it started out as, and what it promotes itself today is a union of stability and protection.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, when you say that, who are they protecting you from? The same people who are back in the circus that's all about these executive orders trying to bust the union itself.
Right. Absolutely.
Because at the end as with all things with them, at the end of the day, it's about money and control. If they can't control you and they can't control your cash flow, you're a problem to them. So
Absolutely.
a lot of people don't see that plan until the plan affects them. We're going almost 90 days in here to this current circus.
Yep.
Your eggs are still high, your gas is still high. And
well, hold on, wait. I mean, GDP is was it 0.3?
And their walls still unbuilt. And you was told all this was going to happen day one. Now, if the Democratic circus made those claims or proclamations and didn't have those things in place by day 30, y'all would be demanding they get put out of office.
Come on, bro.
But now we're supposed to be so understanding and give them time. It's not an overnight thing. But you expected the overnight thing from the other circus.
Yep.
You can't. I tell people all the time, it's comical how they hold the other circus to a standard. They don't hold their own circus to a standard too. Because even on this Signal Gate or whatever the hell this thing they're calling it now.
Signal Gate is crazy.
if this was under the Democrats, everything
and they leaked war messages. Oh my God!
Everything in the intelligence industry, every head in charge would have been relieved of their duties.
Yep, immediately.
Within a week.
Immediately.
And they would have been.
They acted over Hillary's emails.
They would have been demanding. They would have been demanding the president to step down because clearly he does not have control of his intelligence wing like he should. But
did we ever find Hunter Biden's laptop?
Exactly. You had more hearings over a private citizen's laptop who just happened to be the son of the president. You had more hearings over his actions in his personal life than you do over people in charge of national security and intelligence. They're ready to discredit the reporter who reported them versus how the hell did I slip up and put out war plans in a group chat. You was ready to burn DC down behind an email.
Yep.
But you see no problem here. It's the reporter's fault this got out. Not the fact that you had this information readily available for the reporter to even have access to.
So, Residente, let me ask you a question real quick.
All right.
In the nonprofit field, do y'all have any collective bargaining? Or I mean, I don't see how. I mean,
No, there's no nonprofit union. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, there's no nonprofit union. What we have is we have like organizations that sort of like sort of bring us together and support us. Like in South Carolina, we have an organization called Together at Sea, which
Hmm.
is like a convening organization that sort of helps us to stabilize and build capacity and sort
Hmm.
of like learn skills. You pay a membership fee to be a part of it as an organization, but no, there's no like nonprofit union. Plus, South Carolina is a right to work state.
Hmm.
which,
Hey, what are you doing? Drop
Hey.
me.
which is
Yeah, I
another
know.
which is
Get away from me.
another union buster tactic. This right
Yep.
to work thing.
Uh-huh.
They give you this under the guise of, oh, we're looking out for the working man because
Mm-hmm.
because unions are so bad. Yet
Yep.
when you're in a right to work state, it's just like I previously said, an employer can fire you on the spot, and you have no representation, nobody to file a grievance for you. All the
Hmm.
best you can do, at best you can do, is collect unemployment, which is going to
Yep.
be regulated by the same state that said it's a right to work state.
Yep.
So again, it's about money and control. Just as
Yep.
Reg, you remember when they did the Boeing vote for Ewing?
Uh-huh. I do.
Okay, I know cats over there at the Seattle location. They were like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be union,
Right?
because if you put the two,
Store.
if you compare the two as far as workforce, what's expected from them, and the capacity they work in,
Uh-huh.
the South Carolina location should be making the same money that the Washington State location is making.
Absolutely.
Now,
Hmm.
Absolutely. But they're
that
not unionized.
Washington State money in South Carolina would go a whole lot further than it does in Washington State, because the
Yes, it would.
cost of living is higher in Washington State.
Yes, it
But
is.
they dumbed it down and beat them down with so many commercials and so much misinformation in South Carolina, to where they had them more focused on the person who was trying to organize the union. They had them
Yep.
more focused on his personal life than
Yep.
the actual benefits of being in a union.
It's
So
true.
what did good old South Cac do? They said, nah, we don't need no union. Not even 2 weeks after they voted to not go union, what
They
did Boeing?
fired half. They fired like like was it
They
like
fired
a fifth of
100,
a fifth?
150, 200 people
That's what they did immediately.
got papers just that fast. But that would have
Yep.
never happened. That would have never happened had they had ratified a union. Just like
Absolutely.
just like with the Port Authority. Those port boys was out there, called themselves doing a strike that lasted how many days? It didn't even last a week.
It didn't.
And then right after they got so-called concessions or guarantees, what did
Hmm.
what what did the state do? They went in there and they went in there and limited their hours.
Yep. Sure did.
I
So
know
we gonna
I
make this money up one way or another.
exactly. I know some cats that been at the port since they come out of high school. That's all they know. I know some that got on their job because their daddy worked at that place. It
Hmm.
was like the Navy base. You got, you got your job because your daddy had the job before you, and your daddy brought you
Hmm.
summer. And during the summer, that was your intern. So when
Yep.
you graduated high school, you went straight from graduation to, yeah, you typing this stuff in at the port, or you working at
Yep.
this spot at the Navy base.
Hmm.
And they took the base, so that was one of your two connects.
Yep.
In Charleston, if you didn't work at the base or the port, have them tell it you didn't have a job.
Mm.
Yep.
When they
That's
closed the base, you found out just how much was connected to the base.
Super facts.
and they had to come in there, and they're still recovering from the base closing because they had to come in there with 8,000,001 different ideas for the
Mm-hmm.
property and to supplement that income that the base was generating, because that was a multi-billion-dollar a year facility.
Super facts.
When that base closed, Charleston and surrounding area economy took a nosedive that they don't want to talk about because they claim you're still in you're bounced. They bounce back from that. But my example of you're still in the nosedive is, what have they done with the Naval Hospital? It's still there.
Right there. Right there. What they're about to sell it if they haven't sold it already.
Uh,
And
but
they,
this is like this is
but
the
you know what
third.
they're waiting on to happen, huh? But so for y'all, for those who don't know, like the naval base, especially like the naval hospital, is like in the very heart of the city of North Charleston, and right around that used to be a bustling community like that. And the black community was built around the naval base because a lot of the black people used to work on the shipyard. Well, they shut down
Mhm.
the shipyard, and the naval base is still there. They used to have, again, it used to be a hospital in the middle of the city, which was a great positive for the city. Well, now that building is like it, it's not, you can't do it. It's unusable, and
But
it's a
who
lot of
has
space.
who has their hand in that building?
Mayor, Mayor, Summy,
But go higher than that. The son,
McMaster.
one of the sons, one of the sons of your current president has his hand
That's true. That's
in the
true.
building. So now remember, when they first, because I was a little knucklehead when they first built that hospital, and
Uh
that hospital was almost like that was the South version of John Hopkins.
huh.
When you
Yeah.
when you had a problem and you was in the military, if they didn't send you to John Hopkins, they sent you to that particular hospital.
Mm,
And at the time when it was built, it was one of the premier military hospitals in the country.
wow. See, I didn't know that.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not even, let's say 20 blocks, not even 20 blocks from this hospital was the George LeGree Projects.
Y'all agree?
My first 5 years of life was spent there. Every one of my uncles and aunties, my granddaddy started his family when he came from the country out down 61. That's where he brought his family to. That's where we started from. You look
Mm.
at that, and across the street from that was one of the two shopping centers in the entire city.
Dipwash Square.
Pine Haven Shopping Center, Playboy.
You
Before
know,
that,
oh, before, okay, yeah, Pine Haven before Dipwash Square, yeah.
but you gotta know, you gotta be old to remember something. And across the street from that was the Kmart shop,
Uh-huh. Yes, it
Kmart shop,
was. Yes,
which
it
is now
was.
the T-Mobile call center, whatever the hell
No,
they want to
no,
call it.
no, it's across from the thing, that's dude, that's a plasma center now.
Oh, it's a plasma center now. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember.
Damn.
I remember it was a call center. And remember they had the big movie theater right by
Uh-huh.
the theater. Okay,
Yes,
but
they
see,
did.
you gotta know, you have to have been there or grown up in that area. I can
Yeah.
remember when the Krispy Kreme, we on donuts, real donuts. I
Oh
remember
my
when the
Real
gosh.
donuts. Real donuts, Joe.
real donuts. I remember when the Krispy Kreme joint was 24 hours, dude, because I had an
Yep.
uncle that worked there. And at the
COVID
end of
really
every
fucked everything
shift,
up.
we had 2 dozen donuts brought to my granny house. So, but this is what I'm saying. The one constant was that hospital and the military and the naval
The
base.
military base. Yeah. Yeah.
So when they closed that base, the only thing you had to remind you of that base being there now is the Navy hospital that's not even being 10% used to their capacity. The government per se still has their hand in it, but your current administration has a hand in it as well.
Absolutely.
There have been 3 so-called deals to buy, renovate, or demolish the hospital. And all 3 deals have fallen through. Why? If the government really wanted to keep that hospital functional, Not even this current administration. Any administration could have stepped in and kept that hospital functional.
But see,
But
but that's the thing. But that's the thing. That's what they do, though. So think about this, right? Because what they'll say is, well, this is a South Carolina issue. We don't want the federal government getting in South Carolina issues. And then as soon as it's something that the federal government could get involved in and stop and help, they say, well, and it, again, back to what we talked about earlier, Cups, like it's, well, why aren't they coming in and helping? But you're
Mhm.
saying we don't want you involved. It's just like the Department of Education. They're saying we don't want the Department of Education involved in our state schools. The schools are
But
criminally
when the schools lack
underfunded
funding, they're like,
already.
help us.
They're like, oh, why isn't the federal government helping us get money for our schools? No, they play that double side of their mouth stuff all the time, and we allow it to happen because we're so busy learning the fan dance.
Mm.
yeah, but again, even the Naval Hospital is not the South Carolina hospital. It
No,
just happens
agreed.
to be in
Yeah.
South Carolina. So why make it? It's out of, to me, it's out of convenience. You conveniently blame the state for not being able to do something you should be able to do as a federal entity because it's a federal building.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's not a state building. It just happens to be. And even if you say, well, it's on South Carolina property, no, sir. It's federal property.
Yeah.
Just like the base was federal property. You never saw North Charleston police go up in the naval base arresting people. There was a
Yeah.
process for that. Why? Because the base was considered federal property.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so now, why do you blame the state for a lack of decision making on a federal building?
Well, you can't.
Have some of your people tell it.
Yeah.
Again, they're so caught up in they're so caught up and comfortable in their racism that
Yeah.
they can be told a certain thing, and that's believable. But
Yeah.
when the facts show you different, the
Yeah.
first thing they say is, "Oh, well, no, that's your facts. That's not the actual facts."
Right. Those are alternative facts.
It amazes me how they can connect the dots with, per se, George Soros buying people and buying votes and buying politicians, but can't see the connection between a 60-something-year-old guy giving another 60-something-year-old guy $5 million in a campaign contribution, and then his 30-year-old wife just happens to wind up as press secretary. They don't see the connection there. That
Man, you talking about?
That wasn't a bought thing. But you having a transgender secretary of health is something George Soros put in there because they're trying to push that homosexual agenda on you.
Mm-hmm.
They can see that conspiracy, but they can't see the conspiracy of somebody, say, like, I don't know, the current Secretary of Education donating an exorbitant amount of money to a certain campaign and then winding up with a job she's totally not qualified for.
Never step foot in the classroom.
Never.
But
Never.
and her kids went to private school.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, this is the second Secretary of Education that had the same qualifications.
There you go.
There
you go. There we go.
But yet, your current president doesn't know the difference between Isaac Newton and Isaac Neutron.
Isaac Hayes.
But
I only got one more.
You need to dismantle the Department of Education. But you have a sitting president that can't pronounce words correctly.
Yeah.
You have a Secretary of Education that can't tell you in detail about certain policies in the education system that they should know as Secretary of Education. You have people under you that are supposed to be briefing you on all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you're so focused on dismantling the Department of Education so you can push a government money or public tax money in the private schools that have a
Yeah.
Christian doctrine to them, so you can basically make this a Christian state, kind of like how those radical Muslims you send kids to fight against overseas do. But there's a difference because it's Christianity, not Muslims.
Hey,
I only
Oh,
got
you got the ice maker?
I got
Which
the little
one you got?
cube thing. It's the
Oh, you got.
circular ones.
Okay, yeah, I had one. There was a little black one that had the little 6-pack to it,
Uh
the little
huh.
clip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow it walked off. But when I see that chick, I'm gonna knock her in her jaw. Neither here nor there. That's
But
a
I
side.
only got one more question about the topic that we was on that we can move on. Do y'all think that based off y'all knowledge, do y'all think that there is any significant difference in public and private sector unions? I know that at the post office, since we do have collective bargaining, we technically are not allowed to strike. So I know that that is one difference between public and private sector jobs. Do y'all have any other
Public
difference?
sector, you have to be more open with your transactions and your allegiances, versus private, they pretty much can do what they want and you toe the line. That's my understanding.
Salud.
Salute for sure. Damn, I wish I could join you. Matter of fact, I am going to join you.
Sip slow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I done had my Haagen-Dazs for the day, so that ain't gonna work for me right now.
Haha. Where you at today, huh?
Topeka, Kansas.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like it's about to be about 40 something, I think, 40 or 50 something degrees. A little breezy out here for them,
Breezy.
but it is what it is. It is what it is, cuz.
It is what it is, cuz. You see it.
Y'all know the real.
Yeah,
You know the
word.
real.
You know the real, cuz.
You know the real, cuz.
Just a little Blanco. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. 1800. I see you.
Just you know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. You know
I'll
what
be
I'm saying?
glad. I'll be glad when y'all getting y'all late 40s, early 50s, and graduate the Crown and some Crown XR.
I can't do Crown, man.
Some real
Well,
Drake.
it sounds like you about to break out some OE, man.
Hey,
I can't do no Crown.
my old English days are behind me, but I was drinking old English at 12, 13 years old. My kidneys are very happy. I can
Oh man. I know I'm the youthful one of the group, but back in my day, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all know about the Steel Reserve, the 211s, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, nah, you
we
crazy,
we didn't have 211. Our 211 was Colt 45.
I'm brand new to drinking, to be honest with you. I just got used to like drinking. So
Shout out to my dog Cowboy Mike, man. Salute, fellas.
salute.
I could give you some Thunderbird stories, but you ain't ready for that. Thunderbird,
Nah.
Mad Dog, Cisco.
Cisco.
There's a list.
Uh,
My kidneys and liver are happy with our current situation.
Whew. All right, fellas.
Hey, So I'm gonna let because Cuffy gotta introduce us to this topic, right? So there's this guy that passed away recently. Name is Young Scooter. I've seen that the streets have been in quite the uproar about this young man passing away. Um, and I had no idea who it was, so I was like, it'd be really good for Cups to sort of put us on to who this person is and why do people care so much. Um, so Cups, if you don't mind taking that one away, we greatly appreciate it, my guy.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Man, I'm glad I just took a shot. I might gotta take another one for my nigga Scooter, man.
One time for the Young Scooter for sure.
I gotta say, man, salute. Shout out to my dog Scooter, man. Long live Screet, man. Long live Screet.
Is this equivalent to MF Doom passing?
I think MF Doom passed naturally, or he was sick.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
on the level of people knowing but not knowing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Scooter was definitely locked in, especially in Atlanta, bro. Was definitely a superstar.
Okay, Well, okay, so this would be
Camouflage.
yeah, right there. That's where I was going.
Yeah, it'll be camouflage.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Bro was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
hot. His peak was definitely like, more 2012, 2014. You know what I'm saying? That general area, but he's definitely been active. You know what I'm saying? He actually just dropped a tape or album. You know what I'm saying? A year or two ago. So he's been active in the game. But what had happened was basically the initial report that came out the very first time we heard about it. It was reported that there
He was
was
shot.
no. It was reported that there was that there were shots fired at
Yeah.
the residence that he was at, and that there was a woman being assaulted. A woman and a
Yeah.
child was being assaulted, and that there were shots fired. So 12 showed up to the house, and what was said was 12 showed up to the house, and two men escaped out the back door as they were trying to set up a perimeter.
Oh.
And Scooter happened to jump two fences. And they said that in the midst of him jumping up, and mind you, this wasn't a gated community. This was a regular neighborhood. So it's not like he scaled a 10-foot fence. They said he jumped a wood fence and broke his femur. This was the first thing that they said, that he broke his femur, or that he landed in a place that he had internal bleeding.
Uh-huh.
Then, I think this was 2 days ago, they came back and they said that he was punctured by something when he jumped the fence.
Yeah.
So they kind of switched it up there. They said that he was punctured by something, so he bled. They said that they put him in the car, and then they took him out of the police car. They said it took about maybe 35 to 45 minutes for rescue to get there. So my whole thing was, it came back that the caller, whoever called in the 911 jump,
It was a false call.
It was a false call.
Uh-huh.
So my whole thing is, I'm believing that whatever happened, and I talked to Finance Rye about this off air, but I never wanted to. I just felt like it was fishy. I just felt like it was fishy because, okay, he's 39 years old. What black man gonna injure himself hopping a fence, bro?
It's possible. You gotta call into. Well, you gotta ask yourself what type of fence it was. Was
But
it?
I'm saying, to break your femur though.
Yeah, you
in
can.
order to break your femur, don't you have to fall from somewhere like at least almost half of what your height is? A little bit, not what your height is, but another half of that. Like
You
twice.
you gotta factor in the angle, the speed, your weight.
The
How did he
biggest
come
bone in
down?
your body though.
Yeah, how did he come down on whatever object it was that punctured him? What type of angle was that? You had these metal fences with the twisted edges up top,
Mm-hmm.
like spikes.
They said it was just a wood fence though, just like a wood gate.
Okay, even a wooden gate with a wooden point. If you coming down at a certain angle with a certain amount of weight, that wood can puncture you as well.
Sure.
There's outside factors to this that they're not telling you. That you're
My
not.
whole thing was, I find it hard to believe that 12 got a call about shots fired and a woman being assaulted, and they just knocked on the door, and a guy opened the door and closed the door on them.
Yeah.
And both guys were able to run out the back door. I just can't.
See that? That's where the body cameras are supposed to come in and either validate or call in the question, the statement that's being given. So what is the body camera saying?
Because that's my whole thing. It could be a freak accident. It could be, like we said, because we know the facts. It was a false call. Somebody made a fraudulent call to the police.
Okay, but you didn't know that initially. That fact came out afterwards.
Yeah.
There's things that are going to come out later on that are either going to substantiate or call into question what's being put out now.
Even to Uncle's point, like the fact that like they released the fact that they released the 911 call, and like I think, and there's a lot of blame to go around, but in this one here, I actually believe the police on this one because of how staunch they've been in it and how soon they were on it. Usually, when there's some kind of cover up, there's a long pause and then they come out with it. Like they came out with that stuff that like they announced what actually happened to him in terms of him falling. That was the same day. It wouldn't even. It wouldn't even.
They announced 2 stories though.
No, no. The streets announced one story, and then the police came out immediately. Because I remember I think we were on live when Scoot got killed.
We were
I think
on
we were
live.
on the pod. And so I was like, yo, he got shot. Somebody said he got shot. It was gun violence. And by the end of that night, the police had already said, no, 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 no. Look it up. There was a press conference that same night. They're like, this is exactly what happened. There was a 911 call. Gentleman tried to evade the police, evade capture. We
That
we went in to get him, and we found him. He was already down there. Like like that was
They
the
know,
story
but I'm
from day
saying though,
one.
they described the injury in 2 different ways though. That
yeah,
press conference,
but
at first, it didn't say that he was punctured. They didn't
okay,
clarify whether he was
yeah,
punctured or not.
that,
They came back and clarified that he got punctured,
that's
Mhm.
that he
that's
bled.
where the body camera comes into play.
That's when it comes into
You
play. Yeah.
you'll have body camera footage soon as it's cleared by the state and local attorneys. They'll have body camera footage come up, and it'll hit y'all little internet, and they'll have it twisted to where whatever police agency is involved isn't involved criminally.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the internet
That
will
was just my
find
whole
a
thing.
way.
Like, I just don't want it to be an unfortunate event where they responded to a high alert call and they plugged him accidentally and then found out who he was.
So maybe that's why you don't see the video footage yet from the body cameras, because they're trying to make sure it doesn't have them in a negative light, contrary to the statements they've already put out.
For sure. And that's just all I want. Because again, when I first heard that it was a kidnap situation, I'm like, that's not even that. And I'm not going to excuse any celebrity, bro. You never know what anybody's doing behind closed doors. But I'm just saying, like, bro, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
Yeah.
they gave Riddick Bowe a kidnap charge just for taking his family from North Carolina back to Maryland.
Cross straight lines.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
you
So
don't. It's all about how
Thank
they
you.
classify it or how they it to fit their narrative. They can say
they not just gonna
you
come quietly and
you
knock on the
didn't.
door like, hey, heard that y'all guys were letting off some shots, man. Is everything okay in here? Like, nah, bro. They was probably trying to knock the door down.
Yeah, probably.
I
Because if
mean,
you hear that but that's the thing, like, and this is why I think there needs to be more legislation for false allegations.
Hmm.
And I'm talking whether you talking about rape charges, you put a body on somebody, whatever. I think there needs to be more a much more ardent line on when you make false allegations because that young man lost his life for no reason.
For sure.
because
Look,
they went in there under the premise of there
There's
was a
somebody being abused.
violent
Yeah,
situation. There was
yeah.
a violent situation in place, so they already had a particular mindset en route to the location.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, had that false 911 call had not been made, it would have been approached as a civil dispute per se. The level of anxiety would have been lower. They
hmm
still would have had their guard up, but they wouldn't have been going in there as if, well, I need to be on high alert because I may wind up losing my life in this situation because there's a violent situation taking place when
Yeah.
actually it wasn't a violent situation taking place.
they was just watching March Madness.
Well, I mean, but we have instances of people getting shot from from people outside while they're just watching TV or
Yeah.
playing games. So
Yeah.
there's always the level of this could happen to me when you're dealing with the police. You got to understand that, because they don't know what you got going on over there, and you don't know what they've just been through or what they've been through on their shift. So everybody has to take everybody's situation into consideration. But that 9 times out of 10 never happens. It's usually you coming up on me, I'm minding my business, or I know this area, y'all ain't nothing but thugs. I'm
Yeah.
gonna treat you the same way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
it is what it is until it's not.
But
That's what
Cubs.
I say. When
Mhm.
the body camera footage comes out, then you'll get a different perspective on what happened. But the only people that know the truth are the ones that were there and the ones that are dead.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
What you was
I
about to
agree
ask
on.
me, Rez?
No, I'm just still trying to understand like its cultural significance. Like I get the
Bro was
story,
just
like
yeah, bro was
I,
just
but
a hood legend.
I just don't know like what makes like what it like for those of us who don't like we didn't like this ain't our era. You know what I mean? For this stuff here. I've never heard a Young Scooter song that I know of.
He's a
I
jug king. I'm
I
pretty sure you have, bro. He had some jumps on the radio back then.
I don't listen to the radio.
I can make cocaine.
That
I
was
just
him?
fell in love with a Cuban.
Okay, so I heard that song
I
on the
was
Joe
in
Budden podcast.
Colombia. Yeah, yeah, that was from a minute ago. That was like around the time I was like in college or high school. But yeah, no, bro had some bro definitely had some hits. Like I said, man, he was when he was more active, he was definitely hot, bro. And people definitely respect him, especially what I'm saying what he was doing outside the booth. Like you know what I'm saying, like he was really that guy like in the streets in Atlanta. So he
So was he YSL? Is that a thing?
no, he wasn't YSL. He was definitely Black Migo free bands. He was future right hand man, basically.
Okay, he was a
You know what
future.
I'm
Okay, because
saying?
I heard Thug came out and said something. You know what I mean? I think it was Thug
Yeah,
that said that he thinks he was shot. And speaking of Thug, just to sort of pivot a little slightly, because I mean, shoot, we're not doing a sports pod right now, so we cooking.
yeah, yeah. No, we good.
Um, so young Thug, do you think he's putting himself in position to get rearrested?
Bro, to
Because
have
like,
this shit revoked. Let me go get my roll up real quick because you about to
yeah,
piss me off.
yeah, because you see what's happening, right? So I don't know if you know about this. So do you know about the situation? I want to make sure I don't want to
I,
talk down.
I I saw a clip where they was talking about revoking his probation. I didn't know he was on probation, but
Yeah, so
hey,
he got out. He sat in jail awaiting trial for a long time. His trial, like they finally got through the situation. They came to a plea agreement, and he got out on probation. But now
I think it's like
he's
38
like,
months.
yeah,
Or
but
maybe
he's like following the trial of the other people that were on trial, and he made this post. I think it's either a tweet or a face. I think it was a tweet,
it was a
and
tweet.
he said that the like he put the information about the detective out there, and
No,
so now
all he said
people
was that the district attorney was a liar, and
no no
people.
no, but he said that, and he posted their picture,
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, I
and
mean, it's not hard
that's
to
what he
find
got in
out who the
trouble for.
district attorney is, though.
But no, but it wasn't the district attorney. It was the detective. It wasn't the district attorney. It
Oh,
was the detective, and the detective was testifying in like in immunity because you couldn't find like I looked around, you could not find anything about this detective until he posted, and he posted her picture,
oh, see
and
that
so
adds a
so
different
now.
element
Right, so people have doxed her now, and like she's received death threats and stuff like that since then. And this is just in the last 2 days.
for sure.
So that's why they're talking about the fact that he's now having a negative impact on the other trials, and he's putting witnesses in danger, and he's
okay,
making it where it's a
you
tough thing for people to even testify.
but you had at the time a certain person that was on trial that was talking about the judge and putting information
Hmm.
about the judge and his
Yep.
child on
Yep.
the internet, and y'all didn't flinch.
I'm gonna say, wasn't her
I
name
did.
Fanny or something? Actually, that was the same lady that was trying to go after Trump. Wasn't she the district attorney for the job?
Yeah. No, but he's talking about the New York judge,
And
and Atlanta judge,
we can
the same
even
one.
we can even come back to Atlanta. They put information out about who she was smashing and said that was a conflict of interest. down to
Got her thrown off the
down to
charge. Got her thrown off the
down
case.
to down to the name of the person, where they were at, where they live, all that. But nope, y'all didn't flinch. So now he does the same thing, basically, and you're ready to snatch his freedom back.
He posts a picture, and now all of a sudden that they take that as gang activity, that he's inciting violence.
That's what they said.
Is crazy. What happened to freedom of speech? All he said
No,
was that she was a liar.
again, your current president had people do the same thing, either knowingly or unknowingly. Did
Yep.
the same, to the point where it altered that lady and the dude she was smashing's life.
Yeah, it's true.
And it discredited both of them based on what they were doing on their private time, willingly.
Well, wasn't she doing it with public funds though?
No, she wasn't doing it with
No,
public.
she wasn't. She
funds.
wasn't.
She wasn't doing it with public.
No, she
funds.
didn't. They didn't. She didn't do anything illegal. What she did was they considered unethical.
Unethical.
But it was consensual between
But
the
it's
two
consensual.
parties involved.
Yeah.
Period. But they tried to say her smashing dude or them smashing was a conflict that both of them should have been put off.
Yeah.
Which was again a double standard that's comical at best, because you're going off of assumptions when they have actual facts against your people. You're ready to discredit it. But the same shit you discredit when it's your clown, you swear is by the book and by the law when it's the other clown. But you're so comfortable in your racism and your insecurities about certain shit that they brainwashed you into, that you run with that, and that's it. Nobody can change your mind until it's somebody close to you in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden we need to have understanding and patience and let the system do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. You talking?
Got Cowboy Mike tapping in. What's going on, my brother Dakota Mike?
Yo, what up?
We got to call you Money Milk Mike.
Yeah, Money Mike. Ooh,
Money Milk Mike.
Y'all know what I got on the way?
Money Milk, bruh.
So now that Joe Milton is a member of the Dallas Cowboys, are we still throwing the foes up?
Absolutely. Bazooka Joe will be a nice backup. That's it.
You calling him Bazooka Joe? I thought it was Money Milk.
His name is Bazooka Joe.
Oh, damn. He got a new nickname.
Bazooka Joe. Like, you know, like the bubblegum, the old school bubblegum.
Oh, I know you know about. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's what I call him.
Well, you know what? He's your player now, so you get the name.
Yeah, he on the Cowboys now, so you know what I'm saying. I'll let Dallas Mike, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So one time for Money Milk, we're gonna put you know we're gonna retire that name for the for gang.
Salute, shout out to Money Milk.
Salute to Money Milk. Now Bazooka Joe. Bazooka Joe.
Cowboy Mike for Money Milk.
Huh?
You sipping up? You toasting up?
One time. Yeah, one time for Money Milk. We retiring that name.
For the one time.
I got you. Give me a second.
No, you good, brother.
I bet not see him over there in East Mall buying watches down there at the Victor store.
I gotta go back to Dallas, man. I like that city.
One time for Money Milk.
One time for Money Milk.
One time for Money Milk.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
Salute.
Yes, sir. Bazooka Joe, going forward.
I think it was a smooth pickup by the Cowboys, though, for sure.
Oh, that was.
We were gonna draft the guy for like anyway.
What is that upfront money on him?
He's still on a rookie deal.
Rookie deal?
You're on a rookie deal. Yeah, you're on a rookie deal.
Whatever his rookie deal was.
He might be making a rookie minimum. He was a sixth-round pick.
So that was a trade, or was that a outright?
No, it was a trade. They gave us a seventh round pick and a fifth round pick.
It's his second year. It's his second year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's going into his second year. Yes.
Yeah. Dog, that's a steal.
Yeah, he's gonna have a good preseason. I can't wait.
Do you think he'll be better than Trey Lance? Is Trey Lance out of there? Ain't Trey Lance?
Dog, it's not.
Trey Lance is bad.
It's not hard. It's not hard to be better.
Nah, anything is better than Trey Lance, personally.
See,
Right now, you can go out to be better than Trey
I
Lance.
don't, I
I
don't like,
believe.
I don't like the shift on the Trey Lance because I can remember a certain person saying Trey Lance was the future for the Niners. But here
You
we
don't
go.
remember me saying that.
I'm about to say Red
I
said
didn't,
that.
I didn't, I
I don't
didn't
remember
I
name
that.
no.
don't.
Hey,
I
I
don't
didn't.
remember
I don't
Red
remember
saying
that
that.
one.
Hold on,
I
hold
don't
on.
remember
I
that
didn't
one.
name.
No.
Wait, hold on. I didn't name no name, cuz. All I
Okay.
Hey,
said
cuz.
was
Hey, cuz. Hey,
I didn't
cuz.
name no name, cuz. All I said was I know a certain fan that was saying, cuz he was the future, cuz. That's all
There
I'm
are
saying,
people.
cuz.
There were people that said it for sure. The thing about the Trey Lance thing was you got to remember that we were in the Jimmy Garoppolo of it all. And what I trusted in, and what I continue to trust, is that our GM is and our scout team do an amazing job of vetting people. I did not like us moving up to the 2 to get Trey Lance. I thought that was a terrible, terrible, terrible decision. But I thought that, oh, maybe they see enough where they can put their guy in place and have their guy for the next 10 years. So
I
at the top level, that makes sense. The problem is that Trey Lance only played, I want to say, 7 games in college. It's the exact
Mhm.
same thing I said about Anthony Richardson, is he didn't have enough starts to really have the experience to be able to say this guy is going to play at this level. He had all the measurables though. He has the
Mhm.
rocket arm. He can run. He had all the measurables. But what he didn't have is the things that Brock Purdy has. He doesn't have the quick processing speed. He doesn't have the decisiveness. He doesn't have the ability to throw so many throws on a route tree. He doesn't have the diversity of throws that Brock Purdy has. He didn't have the clutch gene. Doug, I watched Trey Lance in a game complete 5 passes,
Mm,
and it only didn't look terrible because Justin Fields completed 4.
mm.
Tough. The
Tough,
rain
bro.
game.
The
That's
rain
tough,
game,
dog.
I watched that stuff happen. Like once I saw again, December 4th, 2022, I was in the building when it happened, bro. Like I was in the building where Trey Lance was hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo was playing because Trey Lance was hurt. That was the year that Trey Lance was supposed to be starting. Jimmy Garoppolo was in the game. We're playing the Miami Dolphins. My first time ever at Levi Stadium. We get to the first drive. We put up 3. The Miami Dolphins score on the first play of the game. Trent Sherfield straight down the field breaks my heart. I'm like, I flew all the way to San Francisco for nothing. And
Mm.
then I go to the bathroom, come back from the bathroom, and my wife says Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. And I'm like, this is the worst day ever. It is
I'm
the
like,
worst
what
day
else
of my
is going
life.
on?
I don't
Yeah, I'd
know
be
why I
sick.
came here.
I'd
And
be
they
sick.
said this kid is coming in who's the last pick in the draft. And I'm like, oh, this is about to really suck. And I watched that kid walk the Niners down the field on his first drive and score a touchdown when Jimmy Garoppolo had 2 drives and couldn't move the ball at all.
Come on, bro.
So like the fact that that
No, you gotta
happened
pay
was
that
very
man.
fortuitous, but there's also like to again to what I was saying about our scout team and our coach. Kyle Shanahan was saying in the preseason and training camp, he said our third our third uh our third stringer might be the best quarterback on our team. He said that in training camp.
Come on now.
But
You ain't
words
like
wrong.
the
words
trade
you've
thing didn't work
heard
out. It sucks.
When
words
are
you've
y'all gonna pay him?
but words you've never
Yeah,
heard in a Dallas camp. Third string quarterback maybe our best.
that's funny. But no, yes, they're gonna pay him. And actually, John Lynch just came out a couple days ago. No, Jed York. Jed York came out a couple days ago and said that they're gonna make Brock Purdy the highest paid quarterback in franchise history. That's undoubtable. That's gonna happen. The question is, what is the number? And I'm pretty sure they're gonna find a number before we get to training camp. But the Niners are also notorious for not doing like either they do it immediately before, like, but once they get into like full draft mode, they're not trying to get a deal done right before the draft. So if it don't get done the month before the draft, it will get done right before training camp. Brock Purdy will be in training camp on day 1. He's
Oh,
not playing
bro.
another year on this deal.
But what if he plays the final year on the deal with the guaranteed money afterwards?
Well,
Just for him
that's the thing. They
cap.
could do that. They could do that. Like that's something they could
They,
definitely do. Is like, okay, your money will kick in. Like we could
they,
do where your signing bonus kicks in now, but your actual salary doesn't
but
kick in until
but
after.
they'll play him on this one for the cap year, and then guarantee everything behind that, say 3 years minimum.
But they can do that. They can say this year here for this year here, your signing bonus is what is going to be your salary for this year. So say you make this deal. I think they said the deal they're looking at is 239. I think it's 239. He wants to be paid more than more. He wants to be paid more than Trevor Lawrence, but
Mhm.
less than Dak. I think that makes. I don't hate it. Like I said, anywhere. Like I don't like a 50. I would like a 50, or I like a 45. But you can't ask him to take 45 when Trevor Lawrence is getting 55. It's really it's hard to make that case.
And then I heard Lamar about to re up too. Lamar Jackson.
Oh, he gonna have to. That
Bro,
Trevor
yeah,
deal gonna
look,
have to
people
re-up.
kept saying that, like how dumb like it was to like, bro, it's the cheapest it's gonna be right now.
Yeah,
That Trevor deal messed everything up, and the Dak deal messed everything up.
yeah, big
No,
time.
the Tua deal messed everything up.
The Tua deal
Come on.
definitely messed everything up.
Just because right now, Dak or Brock, if you had to choose.
I'm
going
taking Brock. I'm taking Brock. Though I think Dak is extremely talented.
Dak got to show that shit though. He ain't show that shit in like 3 years.
I think Dak has more measurables than Brock Purdy does. Like I think Dak is about 6'5", 6'4", 6'5",
About 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
right? And but he has all the measurables. But like Brock's processing speed is crazy. Brock's biggest issue is that he's short.
Yeah. And then
Like,
the fact
for a
Dak can't
QB.
run
So
anymore.
what,
Like Brock can get you at
The
least
money
a
will-
couple
Brock
first
can even-
downs running.
Yeah, Brock
But-
can do it a couple first rounds.
Dak can't run no more. Like he literally cannot run at all.
Yeah.
Being short didn't stop Doug Flutie.
with Money Milk on the roster, do you think that they are looking for a way? Is this putting Dak on notice, or
Yes.
is this just saying, you know what I'm saying? We have a
They tried
quarterback
that shit
now.
with Trey Lance. It didn't work out, but yeah, it's putting Dak on notice.
If Money Milk can, if Bazooka Joe can do
Bazooka Joe. I'm sorry.
if he can
Bazooka
do
Joe.
what we saw him do in that final Patriot game, if he gets in preseason and does that,
I think he's going to.
oh
He's-
boy,
He's gonna always be volunteer Joe to me. Fuck y'all.
oh damn,
That's
He was
crazy.
Michigan Joe first.
But
Yeah, he was missing Wolverine Joe.
he
He didn't
did
plan that shit. I didn't plan it.
he did his damage in Knoxville.
I ain't playing it.
We could call him Fort Knox. I could care less.
shout out to Knoxville, Knoxville, very underrated city, by the way,
Very underrated.
very
Very
underrated city.
underrated.
Come on,
Yeah.
John Moran. I need
Knoxville-
5 assists. nigga. Damn.
Knoxville is Norfolk without water. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dog, Knoxville's nice. I want to take Toya back to Knoxville. Last time I went by myself.
I'm
Mm,
trying to. State playing up there for their homecoming this year.
Come on, Overton.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be a move.
That is a move. That's all I'm saying. That's all
All
I'm
right,
saying.
if you get tickets, let me know. I'll go too.
State against Norfolk State for the homecoming. I'm there for the bands, but I mean, it is what it is.
So Cowboy Mike, new coach,
Here.
backup quarterback. What is the direction of the Cowboys?
Me personally, I've said it all off season. I like Brian Schottenheimer, Jr. No, did Jr. No.
No, I brought
Yeah, Marty's son. To me, I like him as a coach. He's been with the Cowboys for the past couple of years. He was our pass game coordinator. So, again, I feel like they retained him for the head coaching job because you don't want to have to give Dak another offense to learn. Me personally. You just signed him on a new deal. You just signed CeeDee Lamb to a new deal. I think personally,
not to interrupt you, but I'm interrupting you. Doesn't that hinder y'all that you have another offensive scheme to learn another year?
No, that's what I'm saying. We don't have to learn another one. He implemented the one we have now, him and Mike McCarthy. So he's learning. He's on the same system, same trajectory. He's gonna get better and better with that system. Well, what I like about Schottenheimer is the fact he's committed to running the football. That's the difference. He said in every press conference, "We will get physical. We will run the football." So I feel like we moved, BB back to his natural spot at guard. He was playing center all year, which he was again out of position. I feel like another year with Guyton, another year with Tyler Smith, another year with Brett Hoffman at center. You know, we had Zach Martin retire. Still got Terrence Steele there. You know, I feel like this line is gonna be more physical and a little more shifty than those past couple lines. I feel like Zach Martin was just getting by. Niggas can say what they want. I watched tape. Zach Martin been hurt for the last couple of years. He needed to shut it down a couple times.
Mhm.
He been on one leg. Just one, you know, I give him credit for being a warrior, but he been on one leg for the past couple of years. You know, he never decided to have surgery for some reason. I don't know why. But again, I think I remain optimistic. The division is gonna get better. But I mean, hey, it's a crapshoot, man. And again, I like when nobody expects us to do anything. They think we're gonna be shit. That's when we probably play better.
That's how I feel about this year for us
It's
too.
very simple. I mean, the conversation has been simple the whole time.
Is the running back the first round pick or the second round pick?
I think we're gonna get him in the second round. I think we might have to go Ohio State, running back maybe, or I hope we go Hampton out of North Carolina personally. That's why I really.
Do y'all have the line? Do you have the line where if y'all drafted a running back right now in the first round, he'd be all right?
Yep, I think so.
So then y'all got to go Trey Henderson in the first round.
We could. I mean, I wouldn't.
Y'all still got Rico?
But do you put? But again,
Y'all still got Rico?
Rico gone.
Do you think management will do a running back in the first round?
No.
Versus
we're going receiver.
Versus the middle linebacker that you really need.
We got a couple of middle linebackers from either Tennessee. We got one from Chicago and Sanborn. So I mean, we might go linebacker. We got Overshawn coming back. I think we still have Kendrick's coming back. So I'm like, we might need to go.
Overshawn might miss another season.
Huh?
I thought Overshawn might miss another season. I thought he had a series.
Yeah, he did, but he'll probably be back mid-year. I'm guessing maybe like game 5. You know what I'm saying? So
what's the number?
We had Leofold at middle too. He from Notre Dame last year. So it's like we in a situation where I feel like we're if we really knock on the same like the guys we need to pick up like a cornerback, linebacker, receiver. If we nail those picks or whatever those pickups are, I think we might launch after that. You know what I'm saying? But
so what's the number on Parsons?
Man, I'll trade that nigga personally. Give me the haul. I take the haul for him. I'm serious.
Did you
see
what
matter? Michael DeMarcus Lawrence don't matter on our team.
You saw what Michael Irvin said about Michael Parsons?
I did not know. I haven't watched anything.
So
I've had a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like not bad stuff. It's like wild stuff on my job. So might be a promotion on the way. You dig? So
praise God. Do work, my guy.
Congratulations, brother. Hell yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Yeah, I was telling 2-5 like, man, you got to strike when the iron's hot.
There it is.
So I ain't taking no discounts. You know what I'm saying? So
but you got to make yourself a man of value, though. You know what I mean? Like it really comes down to like it's like, yo, you need me,
big time. So yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is. So I'm negotiating currently, so we gonna figure it out. But
nice.
I haven't watched anything with Michael Irvin, no Cowboys. I mean, I seen Michael talking about his agent. But the same thing Jerry does with everybody does. He did the same thing with Dez. He did the same thing with Dak. He don't want anybody outside the building because he can't hoodoo you. He tried to sit down with Dez and do a contract by themselves.
What he said was that he was talking about when Michael Parsons made the comments about Brock Purdy and how he was like, welcome to no more, welcome to the real NFL, no more rookie deal. Let's see how good you are now, whatever. And Michael Irvin said, he's like, dude, you haven't beat that guy once.
Not one time.
You haven't beat that guy once. And you barely sniffed him in the games.
Literally,
like, you need to focus on your game. Like, you need to stop talking about this dude. Like, this dude cooked you. Like, you played him 5 times and have 5 losses.
You ain't touched his body one time.
You shouldn't mention this man's name.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I had to shut the fuck up. I'm not saying a word. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets to a certain point where y'all not able to do work. Like, you have a big name, you play good and like you dominate the Carolina Panthers, you dominate the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
We need you in a big game. You're nowhere to be found at all.
Yeah.
Not even taking sacks, small tackles, small impact play. I'm talking about just riling guys up. You on the sideline pouting. I'm like, come on, bro. You and Lawrence, y'all both can go. I know Lawrence already did.
That Parsons is definitely a no-show.
But that's my big issue. That's my big issue with a lot of these guys, though. And it's not, I don't know if it's a generational thing or what, but like there's so much talking, dog. There's so many people talking about their game. Like, do you put that work in to actually be great? And I don't know if it's a thing where it's like you can't talk about the game and be great at the game. I don't know. but it just seems like the people that do the most talking about their game don't have the game to be talking like
at
that.
all.
And even if they had even if they had the past success and then they get the podcast or the news thing or whatever, like it's not it doesn't translate. Like
No.
your game isn't getting better, it's getting worse. And if it's getting worse, you need to stop doing it.
And then my thing is like you're not a leader. Like you don't lead
No.
men. Like you're somebody that when somebody's down, you may say a couple little things, but most of the time it's like, man, I gotta get out of here, man. I need a ring. If not, I'm gonna join the Chiefs. It's like, my nigga, well, leave now then. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you don't study film study. You're not trying to be the best DN/linebacker of all time. You're not LT. You know nobody calling him LT anymore. It's like, nigga, nah, you're not nowhere near LT.
And LT did what he did while he was on cocaine and crack.
Cocaine. He was like, man, he
Allegedly,
couldn't wait to the fourth quarter for him to get a hit of crack.
sir. Allegedly,
Allegedly.
LT said he was smoking that shit.
Oh yeah, LT admitted that. He said
LG and Dave Meggett was out here running these streets.
Yeah, he said they was getting busy with it.
As Coach Bill said, we're talking about Lawrence Taylor here, sir. Be serious. Come on.
Well, but speaking of team progress,
I got 10 minutes.
We seen the videos. Aaron Rodgers working out with DK Metcalf. Are y'all going to strike a deal or what's?
I am a fan watching just like you're watching. I think it's a deception. It's smoke and mirrors to throw off any potential monkey wrenches. But if they sign him, if they don't, I mean, the class of 2026 looks better than the class of 2025 as far as quarterbacks, as far as I'm concerned. Potentially.
True.
So if I gotta sit out a year,
okay.
If I gotta sit out a year and be regulated to Mason Rudolph clutch interceptions in order to get higher up in the
But then
draft,
y'all gonna lose out on Mike Tomlin. Would you rather have a quarterback or would you rather keep Mike Tomlin?
But I think Mike Tomlin.
If y'all have a bad season, it might be.
I think if they don't bring a quarterback in,
the lack of a quarterback is not going to dictate whether Coach Tomlin there, because Coach Tomlin doesn't make the picks. He just plays with what they picked. That's going to be on Khan.
Yeah,
I think, and after hearing everything I hear, because to say you go from the room you had last year to potentially what you got this year totally discredits your moves from last year. Khan isn't that dumb. I think he's playing dumb, and the Rooneys are allowing him or in on it to play dumb to where they're going to make a move that either sustains us through this season to get us to 2026, or they make a move, like I said last month, they make a move to where we get Shador, and then everybody just like next.
That's what that's what I think.
You don't invest in a wide receiver like you have without guaranteeing yourself of a bona fide starter within the next 2 years, because you gave this man $150 million. And you don't. This isn't the type of franchise that just throw money out willy-nilly without thinking long term.
Right.
So I believe they have a plan. Do I know what that plan is? I don't. But you're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me you invested $150 million into a receiver that's pretty much in the prime of his career, to have him come there and the quarterback throwing passes to him is a second round pick that can't hold a starting lineup together for more than 3 games. That's a fourth quarter interception waiting to happen.
I agree. You're not
going to tell me that, because if that's the case, you could bring Landry Jones back, and I would feel more comfortable with that quarterback room with Landry Jones in it versus what you got potentially right now. And they know that. Like I say,
I honestly think Jackson Dart might be able to make it to 21.
I don't this is my personal opinion.
They don't
But
want Jackson Dart.
as stated before, management might know something I don't know. Jackson Dart might be just what they ordered. All I know is, from what I seen at Ole Miss, he's not Ben, he's not Terry, and he's not Cordell.
Yeah.
And those
So
are my three parameters. Even if you brought, per se, if you said prime Seneca Wallace, I would be more happy with him.
Damn. Then Jackson
Seneca
Dart.
Wallace.
nah, so
Say it
I don't
again.
think
Say it again.
Goddamn.
I think a couple
I would be
things.
more comfortable with Seneca Wallace, my boy. I'm just saying. But I'm a fan.
Yeah. I think a couple
I
things.
would be more comfortable. I would be more comfortable with Josh Dobbs. I've always said they never should have traded him. I would have been more comfortable if you told me Josh Dobbs could potentially be our starter, because he has the arm to connect with Pickens and your boy on a deep route. His only problem is he can't do the intermediate and he can't do the slant.
He can't. He
But
cannot.
if you put Pickens on one side and Metcalf on the other and tell him run straight up the field and tell Dobbs pick a side, throw it, he'll launch that thing with the flick of a wrist.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs is a Patriot, though.
Unfortunately, I can't dictate the man's future. I mean,
So I think it's a couple things, huh?
he's getting passed around like a wet food stamp. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I was glad he's not in San Francisco anymore.
What food stamp is crazy?
Nah, I think there's a couple things. So I think one, if the the Steelers wanted to sign Aaron Rodgers would have been signed. I think that's abundantly clear, and I think that Aaron Rodgers, make a point of it to try to like throw the ball with DK Metcalf is him trying to court the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers is courting the Steelers much more than the Steelers are courting Aaron Rodgers. I think the second thing is that I think they brought Mike Tomlin in for a conversation, and the conversation was like this: if we can make a deal to move up against your door, we will. If we can't, we're gonna throw this season away, and your job is gonna be protected if you miss the playoffs, and we're gonna go after Arch Manning. I think that is the conversation that they've had.
But like I say, even if you go that route, based on the division you're in and the conference you're in, it's highly unlikely you're going to have a losing season, because last year was supposed to be your losing season, and look
Yeah.
what you did with that.
Yeah.
My only concern is one of my main concerns is you sacrifice another year for a Super Bowl contending defense whose window is closing every year since 21.
Do you think Highsmith is going to be there long enough for y'all to see that window remain open?
That is a question in itself. But again, the fact that this defense has to struggle another year based on offensive struggles is what disappoints me more than anything else. Because this defense right here has set records, but doesn't have a Super Bowl ring to show for it.
Do you think y'all shell out the kind of deal that that Cleveland shelled out for Myles Garrett
Oh,
for y'all to retain?
We did that already with TJ Watt when he signed his second contract. We made him the highest paid lineman in history. Okay, and his contract set the standard for Myles' contract. So if anything, Myles needs to be thanking TJ.
For sure.
Back when he signed, and matter of fact, he signed for less money than what his agent wanted when he signed in the first place. He could have got more money, have his agent tell it, but have them tell it. But he stepped in and said, no, we don't need to put them in that much of a jam. I'm good with this number. I'm going in to sign the contract. Let me go ahead and sign and start camp. And then he starts camp and immediately comes in with a hip injury or some shit like that and was out for like 3 or 4 games. But
what year is this of TJ Watt's deal?
22, I want to say. I might be off. I'm not.
This is definitely extension territory.
I'm not the number man.
Either extension or
numbers
trade
man. But even if he's up for an extension, it's going to be a team friendly extension unless he has the mindset of I'm gonna make a move so I don't wind up like my brother did, making the moves later than sooner. But if they have him locked in on the potential and he sees it happening there versus elsewhere, he can stick it out. But I mean, what team is in play right now that you can sign on to that they're gonna say you're a Super Bowl contender outside of the Chiefs and the Eagles? And the Eagles don't need another defensive end.
I mean, maybe the Niners. He would, but TJ Watt would turn the Patriots up. He would probably turn the Bills up.
Turning them up and putting them in the Super Bowl is two totally different things. When you're at that age and your stage of the career, you're only thinking about one thing because you already got the accolades and you already got the money. The only thing that's not on your resume is Super Bowl winning champion.
How old is Watt?
Bengals.
Watt is 30.
30.
What?
He was born October 11th, 94. He's 30 years old. So check this out. He signed a 4-year, $112 million contract with the Steelers, including 35 M signing bonus, $80 million guaranteed, average salary of 28 M's. That was in 2021. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So 2024, he made 30 M's. 2025, this season coming up, he'll be 31. He'll be making 30 M's. 2026, he'll be an unrestricted free agent.
But he won't. There'll be an offer on the table this season, and either he'll accept it or they'll franchise him.
I can see that.
Unless he, like I say, unless he has the mentality of say, or unless he said if JJ is in his ear saying, "Hey, don't be like me. Here's an opportunity. Get it. Fuck them. Go get the ring. You got everything else." If he decides to go that route, I can't be mad at him because I mean, the man has given pretty much everything he's had to give to the organization. He hasn't been He has not been an issue off the field or on it. Outside of one or two injuries, he's been there for every play. He has set. He has the all-time sack record for the Steelers. He has set other records. He has been the catalyst for that defense for the last 5 years. I can't be mad at the man if he makes a business decision. It'd be something totally different if he went the AB route or wanted to be a problem. He has not been a problem. Not one step out the box. Total team player. If, like I say, if he decided this ain't what I want to do, and say Kansas City or Philly or somebody like that, the actual Super Bowl contender, said, "Hey, come here for a year. We'll give you $45 million for 1 year to play, or we sign you on a 2-year, $60 million, 40 up front guaranteed." I ain't mad at him because he done did what he was supposed to do in Pittsburgh.
For sure. Defensive
the
player of the year.
The supporting cast and the offense is what's let him down.
Yeah, it's kind of like KG was in Minnesota. You can't be mad at when somebody really give you their all. It's just like, hey, you the best. Same with DeMarcus Ware when he left.
Because those cats was the franchise for years. You could go all the way back to say Neil Young when he went from Kansas City to Denver to get a trophy. What did he say? It was about the ring. That's all I got left.
Hey,
Von Miller, same way. It's all about the ring. I have nothing left.
Yeah, he got his job. He tried to get it in Buffalo, but
Yeah, but you can't be mad at them cats when they make them make them business decisions. It's them cats that get all this money up front and don't produce.
Yeah.
Them are the ones you like. What the fuck?
Busters. Like, what are you guys doing, man?
You know what I'm saying? And it's everybody else's fault. They didn't produce, not them. So I'm saying I can't be bad. And like you said, that contract was what, 112 mil, right? Okay. At 20 something a year. that was the launch pad. That was the standard that got these cats up here, like Myles Garrett and all these other guys. That's what's got them up 30, 40 mil. You don't have TJ numbers, you just got more money than he does. But he every year he's top 5 in sacks.
Come on, bro.
He's the real deal. I think he's the best in the game personally. And I'm not saying nothing crazy, I know, but
I mean,
I think he needs to be
I
said
think he's
more
the
often.
best defender in the game currently.
You
Me
said,
too. Like it's not said more that as often as it should be. There's
Yeah,
too many
since-
guys that saying like they close to him. I don't
since-
think this nigga's really close to him at all.
but since Aaron Donald is no longer in the equation, you can easily say that him, Myles Garrett, and a couple other cats. Easy discussion on the best in the game.
Yeah, I don't even think Myles Garrett close.
I don't know. Myles Garrett is a bad man, dog, and that's from the outside looking in, based on.
I mean, he up there. I just think TJ got the edge because he more versatile. He can drop back in the coverage and stuff like that. Like Myles Garrett is definitely tough.
But see,
He has motor though. He don't stop moving.
Myles Garrett could drop back in coverage too if that's what the defensive coordinator wanted him to do, but they don't. That's not Cleveland's system. They want him to create problems on that line, period, because he's that dominant.
He won't play linebacker though. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he's more of a lineman than a say like TJ is a lineman or linebacker. See, like you say, you could put TJ in the middle and let him play middle linebacker, and I think he would put up the same numbers. It's just he would get clogged up in the middle, kind of like how Aaron Donald was. But even then, Aaron Donald was dominant in the middle. But you can't compare the two in the middle position. But you give TJ the edge on the edge. But I like I say, I can't fault him if he goes the route potentially of I want to go to another team. But I don't think that's the route he'll take, because if you know the family more or less and where they're from, they're about loyalty. The Steelers took a chance on him. He's going to show them that appreciation for taking the chance on him. But like I said, I wouldn't fault him at all if somebody offered him an opportunity that was a Super Bowl contender and they said we're one edge rusher away from another championship or a championship, and that edge rusher is you. Come on over. Or the Steelers, he goes to management and says, I want to trade. This ain't gonna work for me no more.
I don't know, but I mean, is TJ Watt gonna be the kind of person that's gonna say y'all need to back up the Brinks truck?
That's the thing.
Because Myles Garrett knows that Cleveland's window is closed.
Me personally, I don't think he's forced them to do certain things like say Myles Garrett made Cleveland do. You know, he's not I'm gonna go into management and tell them they need to do this or else I'm leaving type. He's pretty much played his position, tried to make the team better. But it's like Coach Tomlin said a few years back, when you're in a room of alpha dogs and you're the alpha dog, there's nothing that needs to be said.
Right.
So they know what they got. He knows what he got. But I like I said, it's a business. I perfectly understand. If you decide you want that ring as much as you want a legacy in the league, or you want a legacy but one team, but you want that ring even more to complete your legacy, I totally understand it. I hope it don't happen, but if it does, I mean, even if it does, he'll still be welcome back in Pittsburgh. He's one of the few that could leave and come back, and they would be like, "Yeah, okay, we understand. You still a Steeler. You got some that leave, talk shit about the franchise, talk shit about the city, and then when it's all said and done, they come back out with these little podcasts and little tweets talking about I should have never left the city. I appreciate everything they did. I love the city. Blah blah blah. Give me a job.
So, do you think that TJ? Before we get out of here, do you think that TJ Watt is a top 5 Pittsburgh defender yet?
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah, easily.
Who's your
Joe,
top 5 Pittsburgh defenders?
Joe Green, Mel Blunt, Troy, TJ.
Mm. Is James Harrison in there?
Great
He's
question.
He's 5 to 10.
Great question, James Harrison.
He's 5 to 10.
Porter? What about Porter?
Who?
Joey. I don't think Joey Porter is above James Harrison. James Harrison got
15 to 20.
I ain't used to say Palomalu.
He said Troy.
Okay, I'm about to say.
He said Mel. He said Joe Green, Mel Blunt, Troy, TJ, and Woozy.
Okay,
You
my
said
bad,
James
my
gonna be 5?
You could put Harrison at the 5
Okay.
easily. I could put
None of the Lambs or
Jack Ham?
Hams or Lambert.
I could put Rod Woodson at the 5. I could put Jack Ham at 6. I could put Jack Ham at 6 and Lambert at 7.
Let me see how many accolades they got.
Rich history of divas and players. And a lot of those guys played with Terry Bradshaw. Interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody I named is a Hall of Famer for a reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
You could.
You know who I like too? Casey Hampton.
Okay, the best nose tackle we have had outside of Joe Green, because Joe Green wasn't technically a nose tackle, but technically he was. Played the same position.
Jack Ham has 6 first-team All-Pros in a row.
Damn.
And that was playing on a concrete field.
Slab.
That was playing on a concrete field.
They was men though. That's what men was men for real.
That was
he never won decoy, but he had 6 first-team All-Pros in a row.
I'm just saying, you could go with Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd.
Kevin Green too.
And throw them in there as well. You know what I'm saying? That you could put LaVon Kirkland in that motherfucker.
Yes, sir.
Dude, there's one thing they did is they could always get a linebacker.
Big facts.
They could always get, and he either came from Kent State or Ohio State or somewhere in the Midwest. 9 times out of 10.
Jack Lambert.
That's one thing I give them. No matter who's the GM, the one thing that organization can do is get them a linebacker.
Facts.
Jack Lambert, Defensive Rookie of the Year. 6-time first-team All-Pro. He had 5 first-team All-Pros in a row, and he was also Defensive Player of the Year. And he was MVP runner-up in 76.
Wow.
Jack
he might be on an all-decade team too for the 70s. I think.
Yeah, all of them are all-decade team. Everybody that I named top 5 is an all-decade team member and a Hall of Famer.
Did you ever talk about the Asante Samuel Dion jump? Was that not worth talking about?
I brought it up and everybody just laughed.
Okay, I feel it. I mean, again, we got a resident Patriot here who see Asante Samuel. I mean, I'm just like.
Asante Samuel was tough, bro. He was catching hella interceptions per year. But the whole thing about it is the stats. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? You had that, but I feel like Ty Law was more in a conversation with Dion than Asante Samuel.
Well, me too.
I'm like this. It's called the Mel Blunt rule, not the Prime rule, not the Asante rule, not the Ty Law rule. It's called the Mel Blunt.
Mel Blunt was mugging niggas at the line though.
I'm done there. But again, that's for you. I kind of hate how they do generations against each other, because the rules for one generation or the rules for one decade wasn't the same for the other decade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You either impacted it enough to where they changed the rules, or you benefited from the impact of a changed rule.
That's it, right there, in a nutshell.
And I mean, you can nitpick and say, well, Prime, you could beat Prime on a slant route. You look at any video, any footage of a receiver catching a touchdown on him, and it's or catching a pass on them, and it's from them running a slant route. If you do that straight up the field shit,
Topher.
he gonna burn you because he had the speed. But as soon as you put him on a receiver doing a slant route, he getting burned every time, and he can't tackle. But
And well, a lot of time a cornerback's job is to send you inside anyway. So like it's gonna benefit him for him not to have to check you deep, to send you inside where the linebackers are and say, hey, y'all go ahead and clean that shit up for me.
or chip him while I got him on the outside.
That's right.
So he can't make that catch. Or as Coach Bill like to say, I hit you enough by the fourth quarter, you got
you ain't
chicken.
gonna want it. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I feel it.
You could have the discussion, but it's really not a discussion. The only difference between Prime and Asante is one had better marketing.
Yeah, really. You got the shoes with Deion. You got before he even got to NFL field. He was proud. He was himself. Neon Deion. Like you go to Atlanta, so it's like
he had better
marketing, man. It's the money. It's the pizzazz. It's the personality. Asante was just a guy who we knew was going to peak in the backfield. That's what I'm known for. He got a lot of interceptions, but you can beat him deep because he's going to peak in the backfield.
Hold on. Most pick sixes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Asante was a exceptional corner, but even when he went to Philly, he was good. But to be compared to Deion, my nigga, like, come on, man, that shit is just. So and Deion played baseball. Like he played a game and then went to the World Series and played then. Like it's a different type of dude you're dealing with, bro. Then he a coach now.
But that's when you bring in his career.
Yeah, career. Like
not just football. When you bring in his career.
Yeah, some people are media darlings, bro. Just leave that shit alone. You might have felt like in your mind, okay, me and Prime are there. You just not like it's the same thing with Jordan and LeBron to me. It's like you just not there, my nigga.
You pull up their numbers, they're not that far off. It's not like he's saying I'm Darrelle Revis. And that's a totally different conversation in itself. Definitely. But you was better off comparing yourself to Darrelle Revis than you
Champ Bailey or somebody. Like, go play with them niggas. Don't go play with that dude. Like,
but you can't really play with Champ because Champ did it at corner and safety.
Yeah, true.
Because if I don't want to. This would have been a good list, but just because it goes with the jump, since we're doing it, can y'all guess who has this? Is how we're gonna close tonight? Who has the most pick sixes in NFL history? The person with the most has 12. The person with the least has 6.
Nature is it Dick Lane?
No. Yeah, Night Train Lane.
Night Train Lane. I think he leads in interceptions. No, I think Eric Reed leads in interceptions, but he's not on this list. No.
No. My coach, my defensive coordinator,
Dick LeBeau.
Dick LeBeau. The author of the 3-4
is not on this list.
Okay.
Revis Island.
Darrelle Revis is not on this list.
Champ Bailey.
Sixes.
It's not on this list.
Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson, number 1 with 12.
Yeah, I think it's Rod. Yeah, Rod.
Not the other Woodson.
Charles Woodson, number 2 with 11.
Shit. I got this too. I got this. Woodson. Night Train Lane ain't on there. Okay, we'll play your game. Ty Law,
number 16 with 7.
Wow.
Shit.
Is DeRon Bland on there?
DeRon Bland is not on here yet.
He might be on. He creeping. He got the most of the season. I know for a fact. But all time though, like damn.
Give me. What's the Dolphins corner that was hot for a minute?
Sertan? Madison?
Yeah, Madison.
Sam Madison.
Give me Madison.
Sam Madison is not on this list.
All
right.
Delta O'Neal.
Delta O'Neal. Shout out to Delta O'Neal.
Oh man.
Did we say Asante?
What about Merton Hanks?
Samuel is number 23 with 6 games.
Okay.
Deion
Deion
has 9 touchdowns. So he's number 6.
Okay.
Merton Hanks.
Shit. No, he played safety.
You said who?
Merton
He
Hanks.
said
What
Merton
about?
Hanks.
What about? Oh, I'm about to another safety. Damn.
What safety's on here? What safety's on here?
Oh, Darren Sharper.
Darren Sharper, number 3 with 11.
We already said. Yeah.
Famous Cardinal. OG.
Oh, Aeneas.
Aeneas Williams.
number 5.
Aeneas Williams. Yeah,
I would
Aeneas
say
Williams.
Mel Carter.
This number 4 player with 10 defensive touchdowns had a notorious beef with a chain snatch.
Aqib Talib.
Oh, yeah, Talib.
Aqib Talib, number 4.
He bitch Crabtree, bro. Like,
Yeah, but he
he
tanked.
bitched that man. I would have beat the shit out of him.
He tanked this Hall of Fame thing behind that football, that youth football shit.
What do
Him
you
and
do
his
in
brother.
football?
Well, his brother tanked their phone.
Oh yeah, they got a shootout at the football game.
Oh man, that's so
Got in
unfortunate.
with that gun. Yeah, he
That's
tanked this
terrible,
Hall of
man.
Fame shit for that.
Oh, the Grizzlies won.
Yeah, then the brother got some time for that, didn't he? And that was down there in your
I
neck.
don't know how it turned out. I don't know how the case turned out.
Yeah, that's
I just
terrible.
know what happened. This
So
player played for the Jeff Fisher Rams.
Oh, not that's the one that got in the fight with Johnson, right?
Yeah, with the dreadlocks.
You said who now?
They called him Jack Rabbit.
John.
Oh, Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah.
Janoris Jenkins, number 8.
He played for them and the Giants.
Mm-hmm. This number 9 player was known for punching out the football.
Peanut
Tillman.
Peanut Tillman, number 9, with 8 pick sixes, but known for the fumble. That's tough.
That is tough though.
They technique
That's a good
is
stat though. Like known for the punch out, but really hit him with the pick sixes too. That's crazy.
but that's when that's your legacy right there, as Mel Blunt would say. That's your legacy move right there. When they know you for the punch versus your interceptions.
Fuck, what my shit?
Come on, bro.
Shit.
Cedric Tillman was a turnover machine. This next player played for the John Gruden Buccaneers.
Oh, one of the twins.
Rondé Barber, number 10.
Barber. Okay.
But I should say the only twin, because the other one, the running back, he can't buy a drink in New York.
Yeah, he ain't shit. Fuck him. He was someone he'll take Daniel Jones with Dak. Get the fuck out. He shouldn't even be allowed to talk about football at all anymore.
He was fine until he started talking shit about Elite, and then they said, "Fuck you, man, you out of here."
He needed to get the fuck out. He's saying
that's one thing you don't do in New York. You don't talk bad about Elite. Elite, Gretzky, Messier. You don't them three. You don't talk shit about them. Joe Namath. You don't talk shit about them. They may have been assholes, but they were their assholes.
That's right.
All right, so to finish out the top 10, we're gonna do the next 10 when the whole game come back. But to finish out the top 10,
that's a good list, though. I'm telling you.
This safety played for the Redskins and the Oilers. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1986.
I don't know who that is.
Redskins and okay. So who do you play for first? The Redskins or the Oilers?
His last name is one of the cities that he played in.
Not Sam Houston, and it wasn't, and it's not Darryl Green.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is Darryl Green on the list?
Darryl, I don't believe Darryl Green is on this list. We go back to it. Darryl Green is not on this list. Not in the top 25.
All right.
Shocker.
No, I don't know that one then.
His name, well, his first name starts with a K. I'm gonna give you one more hint. K Houston.
No, still don't know that one. No.
His name is Ken Houston. Ken Houston. Number 7 on the list with 9 defensive pick sixes.
Never would have got that one, guy.
Never would have got it.
Close the doors. Lock the doors. Lock the doors.
Close the door on that shit.
Close the doors. Close the doors.
Close the doors.
No,
Close the doors.
close the door.
Close the doors.
Those goddamn doors
Close the
now. Y'all not leaving until y'all give me that for
He-
that.
He
that
didn't
40
even he didn't even try to Teddy P that and sing it. He said, "Close the door."
Close the word. Yeah, he put that business voice on. He said, "Close the
Yeah,
door."
he did though. Hey, what y'all? You heard I said? Close the doors.
You- right.
Please tell me y'all heard the response though. You got he
gonna
went
get
on Ricky Smiley morning show, bro, and had a response to the shit.
Bro, that joint was months ago. Hey, look, I probably would have let that joint ride. I don't
Me
know.
too,
No,
dog.
he
I-
did say he was getting death threats though. So he probably had to address the joint.
Bro,
I
you
would-
believe that? You believe he was getting death threats?
I didn't know, but I'm just
I'm
saying.
like, what the fuck? Who? All right, who
But
want
death
to
threat
kill
for
you
what?
over that shit? Man, that's crazy. Like, okay, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, who want to kill you over that shit?
No, for real though. That's a little extreme though. A death
Yeah, I'm
threat-
like, I was getting death threats. I'm like, nigga, what? Yo, these pulpit pimps, dog. These niggas are disgusting, bro. They fuck up the whole culture of this church in general. Like,
It's either they received death threats or they had a medical episode conveniently.
Word,
That's
yeah.
it.
I mean,
It was
you want them
traumatizing.
Eddie Long type niggas to me. I don't trust him at all.
I mean,
You like
I'm-
Eddie Long looking nigga. I'm cool.
I'm like,
Yeah. Pause
anytime
that.
anytime you put an emphasis on finance as a way of showing your dedication, you're kind of suspect to me, because I like I've said previously, I know pastors. My mama's a pastor. I got an uncle that's a pastor. I've seen pastors per se operate,
Mhm.
which is why I'm a little suspect about a lot of cats, because what you see on Sunday is you don't see that same Monday through Saturday.
Nope.
You get a totally different energy. So
100%.
I've always been a little suspect of certain people. That's not to say all of them are bad, because I know quite a few that they run the word accordingly and they live the word accordingly. And those cats that I can say appreciate or look up to, they don't make finances a priority, because it's like they say, we want cheerful givers, not
Right.
forceful.
That's right.
So if all you got is $1 and you give that cheerfully, we gladly accept that $1. We don't
That's
put
right.
the emphasis on the finance. The finance, as far as they're concerned, the finance will finance itself. We're more concerned with what we're here for. We're here for you internally, not financially.
That's right.
It's when you run across those financially based ones, the ones that like to tell you, yeah, we here for the Lord, but this is a business. When you make the church a business, you're not in the business of doing what you're there for the church for.
Nope.
Just my opinion.
No, 100%.
I
And
agree.
then you got George Bush, who put legislation behind it with the faith-based initiative in 2001 that most folks don't realize when church and state got together and really, now they tax exempt. So now you can really just get money and pay no taxes on it.
And
So again, you're looking at a whole different entity now. That's why you get a mega church now. Most people don't understand the origin of church wasn't even like in the same vein. My great grandfather was a pastor, and my grandfather and my uncle. So I'm coming the same lineage and the same the same livelihood of like my grandfather literally had a job and was preaching and taught Sunday.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. But we got these setups now where their lifestyle is financed through the church.
That's right.
And but they only benefit from the lifestyle.
That's it.
Like I know cats that will per se make a business decision. I'm gonna pay my tithes and pray on my light bill. Well, the pastors I deal with say, pay your light bill, boo-boo. We'll worry about the tithes later.
That's right.
You need your heat and light more than we need this $20 or $30 or whatever it is you about to give us.
Because my grandma's church sometimes I don't have electricity. And again, when you up early in the morning, open the doors, open the windows, you get natural air, you get a natural light coming through from the sun, and you get natural wind. So I've been in church sometimes where it's that country in my grandma area, and literally they in there preaching, or they'll go outside.
Playboy,
I've seen it too.
Playboy, my granny church, I was the drummer and part-time chauffeur. Had to get up at 6 just to get them back to the church for Sunday school. And
That's right.
that was a 30-mile one-way run picking up people
Wow.
back when they had church vans. When
Yeah,
my granddaddy got up, I got up. When
that's
my
right.
granddaddy had to take them back, I
That's
had to
right.
ride with him.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was 2 services on a Sunday. And they
Yeah.
better not have a program in
Come on
between.
now, a
Because now you
revival.
up to 3. Yeah,
You're
or
right.
revivals.
I
A
grew up the
revival.
same way. When
That
granddaddy
was your
got up,
whole
you got
week.
up
A revival was your whole week.
all
And
week.
what you doing? I ain't doing that. Hey,
I'm at church every day.
I'm at church every day. Every day.
You gonna sit on a choir rehearsal? You gonna sit? You gonna, bro? Trust me, I'm the same way.
Choir rehearsals, the business meetings that wasn't
Yep.
business meetings, and
The
like
children fund, all that.
she fed all them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. That's what
you
it
had to
was.
ride. You had to ride on a full stomach, taking them back home, and they had to go place.
That's
And
right.
then you got back. You got back and had to help her clean up in the kitchen.
Come on now. Folks
You know
don't
what
know
I'm
that.
saying?
That's how communities were built, because
That,
everybody is around each other all the time, and you only, you're doing good things. You pour into each other. You're looking out for each other. That's how communities were built.
to
Right there,
this
what you
to
said.
this to this day, I'm somebody's grandson, and they swear they can send me to go get them a pitcher of lemonade.
Come on now. Same here.
To this day,
I'm one of the biggest people that people can see or whatever, bro. I'm still a little Mike to them. A little Mike, go get such and
yeah,
such.
they'll
Go over there, go
come
get such
in
and
a
such
minute.
from me.
Hey,
I'm like, I ain't little. What you mean little?
Go back there and get me a cup of water. You know I'm a
Yeah.
little thirsty.
Go back there real quick.
The hell?
And you know what they do too? I take pride in it now, because I know they trust me. They know I'm gonna do the right thing. Like my grandma only rides, she always want to ride with me all the time because she know I'm gonna make sure she's taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Other folk in the family, they play you to the side. There's a song, man, by the Canaan Spirituals. And Harvey Watkins Jr. talk about how when people get old, people just put it to the side. That's why I work with old people, because I want to make sure that they, are given that same level of dignity and love, and because they deserve it still. They still got something to give to the world. But people, when you get old, people don't give a shit about you, man. They just get rid of your ass, and hopefully they can take what you got and divvy it up. I'm telling you, people sick, man.
I used to tell my granny all the time. She gave me a part of my life I didn't know nothing about, and what I knew about, it was all negative. If it wasn't for her, I would have had a one-sided story about my whole life.
Wow, that's real.
I don't play around with her when she was living, but I'd never let her see my shoe collection, because hell, she would have gave half my shoe collection to the church.
Right?
You ain't got the 2 feet. You ain't got the 2 feet. What you need all these
all the shoes for?
I wasn't buying them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's, in my opinion, that's one of the many problems we have going on today. There's a foundation that some lack.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that foundation, if you had it, would force you to not make some of the decisions you're making now, because you would ask yourself, what would my granny think if I did this?
Absolutely. I still do the same thing to this day.
You know what I'm saying? What would you do? And my thing now is, I wish I could talk to my granny and them about certain shit, because no matter the era, their scenarios would apply to any generation anything going
right.
on. Their scenarios would apply, or they would give you a scenario that would apply to the day, like it just happened to them yesterday.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? They can tell you, look, I got these 5 acres, or I got these 10 acres back when these people didn't want me to have 5 feet. I had more against me than you. So what's stopping you from getting what you need to get?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Some folks can't be quiet enough to get it. They got to talk about it while they're getting it.
They could walk in a room. They could walk in a room and have people stand up, that if you walked in the same room, they'd look at you and be like, "What you here for, nigga?"
Yeah, real talk. And probably will tell you that.
with a straight face.
Straight face. What you doing here?
But now let my granny walk through that room. Them cats jump up, shut everything down. Anything you want, ma'am. What you want me? You thirst? Yeah, no, we'll turn the air conditioner off. It's too cold in here for you. Hey, turn that air conditioner off.
That's right. 100%.
We got peoples. We got peoples.
So, fellas, how we looking for Friday night, man?
I'm here, brothers. I'm still on spring break. Man, bro, I just asked y'all to set some prayers up for your boy, man, because like stuff be happening, man. Like I said, God just moved, man, at a certain time frame. You just don't expect it. Absolutely. But I'm trying to hit him with for a lick, bro. Like, yeah, I'm trying to max out. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not warranted. It's just the fact that, you know, I heard some news. They called me this morning, basically on my on my break or whatever. And was like, yeah, you know, person that you was there might not be there. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, why are you calling me for? You know, it's like you kind of give me a kind of a heads up indication. So it's like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, if you want my services, then you know it's going. Yeah, I'm not taking. Like I said, I don't take discounts. So.
Hey, fuck that. Speak yours into existence, player.
Yeah, real talk.
If that's what you want and that's what's meant, that's what it'll be.
Amen. I stand behind it for sure. Period. For sure.
So yeah, fellas, man, we done reached that 2.5 hour mark in this here motherfucking Thursday night smoke rally. We appreciate everybody who came through the smoke with the game, man. You already know I had the fellas with me, man. My dog, he goes by many names, but we call him the one Mike, man. Dakota Mike, Dallas Mike, Cowboy Mike, DJ Mike P tapping in on the ones and twos.
Put the foes up, nigga.
Throw the motherfucking foes up. And you know we have my dog, Steel Curtain Unk, in the building. You already know, man. Shout out to my dog El Residente, who's also in this joint. Go ahead,
Fuck the Niners, fuck the Cowboys, fuck Durham.
And above all else, fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. We gotta get like a Aaron Rodgers just beat up on, like Aaron Rodgers all or some shit. Whip that nigga ass.
We don't want that distraction, because soon as he get hurt week 1, first thing they're gonna say is it's our season. But anyway, we don't need that distraction. We need trophies, not cheerleading.
I wouldn't. To me personally, I mean, if I'm y'all, again, I know you said it really well. I'm just a fan. I'm just saying, well, like I kind of moved out of this like optimistic, you know, thought process. Like I'm a fan. I wouldn't go with nowhere near Aaron Rodgers. I think y'all on a good trajectory going forward. You know,
without a quarterback though.
Yeah, I think so, because either you get Shador, either you go young, or you go Mason Rudolph.
Like, or you fucking go 6-10 and get another Ben. And we know 6 is not in our equation.
To me, it's no lose-lose, because you got your guys on the contract. It's not like you like trying to find guys. Like you got guys that's gonna be there stable for a while.
But like I said, I don't want that distraction. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I can't. Aaron, bro, he's a shit.
I didn't want this current circus, but I mean, it was forced upon me. So if it's forced upon me, I'll just have to adjust and move on.
And then with Pickens, is Pickens still gonna be there? It's like they might use Pickens as trade bait doing it. You know, like you just never know. I think y'all I think the ownership got a trick up their sleeve for sure.
I think DK is the receiver. I thought Devontae Adams would have been to come in there and put Pickens in line. Like, hey, this is how it's done. Don't do that. If you do it off camera.
Yeah.
See, now you got 2 dogs. You got a pit bull and a Rottweiler. And we all know the Rottweiler ain't nothing to fuck with. We already know that. But the thing is, does Pickens know that?
Yeah. DK different, bro. He conversational. He gonna get in your face about this shit.
Yeah, that ain't something you
don't want to run up that tree.
Yeah, I think I can knock you out. No, that ain't nothing. Right. No, that ain't nothing you walk up on.
That's like going against George Foreman. Like, nigga, what?
Yeah. Like, I think I can beat
punch you. You gonna be like, oh shit. I'm sorry. My bad, Mr. Foreman.
He's slow, but he's deadly. You don't want that Mississippi lick.
No, sir.
You don't want that
soul, man.
You don't want that. So I'm hoping that's what happens here. But if it doesn't, it wouldn't be the first time the Steelers let a disgruntled, immature wide receiver go someplace else only to wind up with a worse season or worse career than you would have had staying in line with the Steelers organization.
Again, another year with Washington, another year with Freiermuth, another year with Austin. So I mean, you got guys. You got Warren there. You pair Warren with another running back. Y'all not that far away, in my opinion. That's that. I mean, again, I hate the fact that Thomas is not making the decisions. You know, you see him in the press conference sweating like a damn slave. I just hope we're okay.
That's what Khan does. One thing the Steelers have done, say, even over the last 30 years, we've had 2 GMs. Khan is one of them. So one thing is the decision makers make the correct decisions or what's best for the team, and the coach coaches those decisions. It's not like some teams where they throw a bunch of players at him and they say, okay, make it work. He has a say, but he doesn't have the final say.
Understood.
So that's worked for 6 out of 7 potential trophies or 6 out of 8 potential trophies. And they don't have a high turnover per se, personnel wise. If you get released from the Steelers, you either was a problem or wasn't a solution.
I respect that. You're right. You can't name a guy that got cut that didn't deserve to kind of get cut. Like, all right, we understood why he, long on the tooth, problem, made a couple issues. I agree with you on that for sure. I don't remember a guy really getting released or cut based off the fact that he wasn't kept him. Like,
yeah.
What was Mike Wallace's issue?
Money.
How you mean? What wasn't his issue when he went? When he wanted the money, okay, he signed that big contract. What was it? Minnesota didn't last
Somebody.
2 seasons.
What did Mike Wallace want to?
Miami.
He's in Minnesota or Miami. Okay, he went to Miami, signed that big contract. Didn't last 3 seasons. Went to Minnesota, didn't last 2 seasons. Went to Baltimore, didn't last a season. He was a one-trick pony.
One-trick pony, a go-route guy.
But he thought like Le'Veon did. He thought he was worth more than one-trick pony money.
Yeah.
And
I thought Le'Veon was worth the bread. Then I realized, y'all was right.
Well, his injury record made me hesitant to validate. Yeah, you worth receiver and running back money.
Yeah.
You couldn't do a full season, my boy.
Yeah.
Your best ability is your availability. That's what they say, right?
And then the O-line spoke out against him too. It was like, damn, well maybe because I ain't really going up and up like that. Like the O-line.
Well, even the O-line was top 10 when he was getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I could see if you was behind this O-line, it'd be a totally different conversation. You was behind a top 10 line.
Yeah, I could dig.
But when we had the line, we didn't have the receivers.
Yeah.
When we had the receivers, we don't have the line.
You know what that started to sound like? The Dallas Cowboys.
No, y'all just got management problems. Y'all.
I'm just telling you. I'm gonna tell you what I think might have. I don't know. I don't think anybody posted it, but it's a guy online basically saying like teams benefit more by being more relevant in the regular season, and they lose more money in the postseason. So if you're more relevant by winning more games in the regular season,
the best season or the best years y'all had a 3-year window where Jerry was picking y'all offensive line, and he started with, I want to say, Smith. The year he started with Smith, the next 2 years he drafted offensive linemen. Okay, within 2 years of them cats being together, y'all had a top 5 offensive line.
True.
Those were the best picks, Jerry.
But if I can interject real quick, we also had Bill Callahan, the best offensive line coach in the world, and we also had Stephen Jones making those suggestions because he wanted to draft Johnny Manziel the same year we drafted Travis Fredericks at center. He wanted to draft Johnny Manziel, so I think Stephen Jones kind of twisted his arm a little bit. Jerry made the final say so I will give you that point. But in that same time frame, you do draft the Fredericks and Zach Martin, and then you have a really good offensive line with DeMarco Murray running the rock. So I agree with you on that. You had Romo undrafted. Dez, you reached up back to go get in the first round. So it was a good combination. But you never got nobody else though. Okay, you had Patrick Creighton.
Do you draft or do you trust Steve over his daddy picks?
No, I hate both of them niggas. Both of them niggas is trash to me. I don't like neither one of them.
Okay,
I trust Will McClay.
I'm just
He's
checking.
the senior director of personnel.
I
A
think.
black man. You
I
think
think.
so? So he's the one really putting those guys, with the scouting team and really finding those guys like Miles Austin. He found Miles Austin. He's the one that found what's the other undrafted free agent that we picked up? Oh shit, a receiver. Damn, it was
Whitehead. No, Lucky Whitehead.
Lucky Whitehead. Same with him. Lucky Whitehead. As our third down, Cole Beasley. Those are Will McClay guys.
Cole would still be in the league if he was vaccinated, but that's another story.
Yeah, 100%.
Randy was already 33 back then, I think.
He was old, but he was nice, bro. Cole Beasley was that nigga, bro. But another undrafted guy that Will McClay found. So it's like you got to give Will McClay his due. He brought back Rolando McClain and researched his career.
That's not the guy that drafted his kid out of Kansas State, is it?
No, that's the running back.
Okay.
Yeah. With Deuce Vaughn, we haven't given him the ball at all. So again, I don't know what they got planned. We got talent. I like our running back room. Again, we got guys. I just think that we have to put it all together. If Jerry wants to, again, like I said, one of my niggas had a theory where he don't believe that Jerry wants to make it to the postseason because you lose money in the postseason. You make money in the regular season by having 13-4 seasons or 14 and whatever seasons. That money is more money you make in the postseason. So the next year, you raise the ticket prices. That's how Jerry is able to keep finessing these niggas. Like, we have a down year, come back, have a good year. Have a good year, come back, have a down year. Like, you're able to keep on making this momentum shift. That's how it becomes, the most valuable franchise in America. It's not like the fact that
the revenue sharing kind of kills that theory.
But I said that several times too because it allows everybody to have the same revenue share. So winning and losing don't matter no more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about
that ain't the motivation.
No, it's not across the board. And again, sports fans have to realize that that's out the window. That winning and losing shit is gone. That's why you get the owner for the Bengals. He don't give a shit. His money gonna be the same. But the owners who really care about trying to make the most money, they want to make the most money in the regular season. That's why you want to get on TV all the time because you want to get more money. You want to get on Amazon Prime. You want to get on Sunday Football. That's where the money is gonna be at. All those games that we see with the Cowboys being the most televised and you making blah blah blah. He's gonna go back to the TV execs and say, look, when the Cowboys on TV, you make more money. So put us on that shit again. You did? So even when we have a down year, we still talk about permeating through the airways with ESPN and all these other shows that talk about the Cowboys. It's goofy shit to me. I don't even like it. Again, when I give you vague answers about the Cowboys, I don't really want to talk about that shit personally because I understand we sorry as hell. Why are we being talked about? Why?
I think you need more black cheerleaders, but I mean, we don't have
agree. More black cheerleaders, man. And I think cheerleaders should be getting paid more money too.
I need a couple of them Texas girls that I seen down there at the rodeo roundup.
Oh man,
Cowboys.
I can't even comment on that. I got to keep that comment. Throw that away. Out of here.
I ain't from there, but I seen the promised land. That's all I'm gonna say.
I seen the promised land. I didn't see anything. My eyes were closed.
Ooh, good.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing. I don't see nothing.
Whatever. I saw enough for you to know.
I'm gonna run with what you got. We're gonna trust what you got. What you see?
Trust me on that one. Houston, Texas.
But look though, what's Friday gonna be about? You got your topics ready, or you gonna keep them in the cut as always and keep us on our toes?
We're gonna talk about Hall of Fame tiers because when Residente and 2-5 come back, we're gonna talk about Hall of Fame tiers because Carmelo Anthony just
okay, I like it. Awesome. Okay, all right.
Well,
I'll be hearing it either way. It don't matter what we talk about. I'm not here.
He's well above Tracy McGrady. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hell yeah, definitely shout out to Carmelo Anthony. But yeah, so that's what we got going on tomorrow night. We're gonna talk about Hall of Fame tiers and stuff like that. And definitely more stuff about sports. We was in our political bag tonight, but we definitely gonna talk more sports tomorrow night when the whole gang is here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I have my dog One Mike Potter here. I have my dog Steel Curtain throw the foes up. Shouts out to Aaron Rodgers being the new quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But
you'll retract that statement soon enough, but it is what it is.
But fuck them. So look, like I said, man, catch us tomorrow night, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. We love y'all so much. Smoke with us next time.